But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please! Please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Monday night, and that's one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about, and my webcam just broke. What in the world is going on? All right. Anyway, in any case, we'll get that fixed, hopefully, shortly. But all right, so all that aside, well, this is a show where we get together Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we do what we're not allowed to do, right? We're breaking the rules here. Well, we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. And, of course, those things are aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And what all of that means is that that upside down is a thing. It really is a thing. It's one of those situations where it's unfortunate, but we do find ourselves in a world that is just, well, call it broken, in the process of breaking. I don't know. It just seems like as the more that we need things for like the people of the earth, the more that the rulers, the oligarchs, those individuals, you know who they are, the technocrats, the more it seems like those individuals are just not into it. They just don't want it to be, right? And that to me is it's frustrating. It's disheartening, and well, I think it's part of the reason why we've always done this show, because there's a whole lot of this that just needs to be talked about, and it's not just that. It's not just about what the world needs. It's about what the individuals of the world need. It's about what you need. It's what I need. It's what all of us need together, and part of that is discussing crazy things, including the right to be wrong. Okay, I think we definitely need that as a society, as a world. I think that we definitely need more than that. Even it's just the beginning of things, and so you got to expect that. When with all of the crackdown on speech and policing, all the rest of that stuff, and it becomes tiresome, doesn't it? If anybody watches the news cycles and all the rest of this, it can get at you. It can eat at you. And as a result of that, well, I had to pull my head out of it for a little bit. I had to take a break. And well, we're back. We're back. Thank you all to everybody for missing the show while I was gone. Thanks for all the words of encouragement and telling me that it was a long week without Troubled Minds. I appreciate that very much. Like I said, it makes it easy to come back, and that's what we're here to do. And so as we continue doing that and start with not just the things we shouldn't be allowed to talk about, there's more, right? Because it's just not just a show. As you know, this is a conversation. This goes two ways. This goes me and you and everywhere in between, because it's not just about what I think, clearly, because that's just easy. That's propaganda style. That's just people kind of well, I don't know, making things up. is that what it is? Making things up, probably propaganda wise, right? But it's a little bit harder. Let's say a lot harder even. I think that's probably the best way to put it. It's a lot harder when there are no answers to have. There are no answers to be had, especially when you're talking about topics that are out there. They say the woo is the woo runs deep, and there's a lot of it, and including talking about religious convictions and talking about things like this. When talking about the nature of reality and is there anything actually to this? I don't know. Is magic real? There's a whole bunch of that stuff that really comes into these conversations. And think about that in terms of answering those questions for yourself. Surely you have the ability to do that for yourself. But isn't it quite a bit more fascinating and interesting when we get a bunch of people together and they're able to also give you their take on what they believe to be true in that regard as well? I think that's the craziness about all this, and why we do it in this format is because as much as I've learned from doing this show, just from digging into the interwebs and some of these forbidden topics, there's more that I've learned from you guys all along the way. So my long-winded way is saying that we're doing this live. We do it live all the time because the secret weapon of Troubled Minds is you. And as we continue talking about crazy stuff, like I said, welcome me back nice and slow here. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's doing well. And we're going to talk about aliens tonight, of course, right? But before we do that, I want to point this out that we do have a phone number available if you want to give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. It's as simple as that. And let's see, is this working? Nope. Trying to get technical difficulties fixed here. They're not being fixed. Geez. All right. So I think I may need a reboot, which is not going to be conducive to the live radio show. All right. So anyway, we may just have to go without the camera. But okay. So thing is this, right? If you want to be a part of the show tonight, we're talking about aliens, and in particular, what happens when they arrive. All right. I was listening to another radio show last night, and I'll tell you about that in just a sec. But before we do that, let's get the phone number, and we'll start there. Let's go to this 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Just give me a call, put you on the show, easy as that. And again, aliens is the topic. What do you think we should do when they arrive? And that's a multifaceted question there. It's not just a simple binary like they would have us believe the world actually exists in. It's complicated, isn't it? Very much like many things in life, it's a complicated thing. But you can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and because we're streaming on all kinds of different platforms, watching the Discord, watching all kinds of things. And yeah, there you go. So we are streaming, of course, on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, which used to be Periscope. Now they just stream on Twitter direct. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. So if you want to be part of the show, one more time, 702-957-1037. Technical difficulties edition. So if you don't see me on the camera, it's because the camera literally just froze as we started. Perfect timing. But no problem at all, because I am here. I guarantee guarantee you I'm here. I'm present and accounted for. All right. So let's see. Where are we at? That's good. That's good. Okay. That's good enough. That's good enough for a Monday. All right. So the thing is this, right? I was listening to an unnamed radio show. I could just tell you. It's no big deal. It's Coast to Coast, right? It's last night they had George Knapp on there, which on Sunday nights he's usually pretty good. So I listened to George Knapp on Sunday nights. And interestingly, his guest for the first couple hours, they do 4 hours from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., was Lou Elizondo, our favorite UFO guy, right? Some people have called him a disinformation agent. Some people have called him worse than that. Some people think he's the person who's going to bring about disclosure, right? Actual alien disclosure. And so it got me thinking, because he said something that kind of made me wonder about lots of things. Because again, the question for tonight is this, all right? As we start, I was listening to him speak last night and just kind of, doing 10 things at a time like I always do, and kind of had that radio show on in the background. And he said something that made me wonder, what does this mean? And not just, I think when you ask a question, right, there's probably layers to these questions, in the sense that some things can be very, very easy. Very easy, right? Like in this case, we're talking about sort of tongue-in-cheek. If the aliens arrive, do we shoot or don't shoot, right? Like that's very simple, isn't it? I mean, it's like, violence or not violence, right? It seems really, really, really easy. But again, it's maybe not so complicated if we're talking about, in the past we've talked about an alien menace, right? Or an alien invasion or an alien threat in this whole threat narrative, right? Well, this time, all that still applies. Nothing has changed at all. And so what do we know about, this alien menace or not? If you listen to individuals like Dr. Stephen Greer, he'll say that that's all a bunch of BS, and that the aliens that are here are benevolent. They're here to help us out. And all the rest of that stuff you hear is propaganda. And so, well, is that true? But then you hear other individuals, maybe tied closer to the military-industrial complex, that would tell you, no, they're a threat, right? And not that Lou Elizondo in particular has kind of been banging the threat narrative. I think that was more the TTSA thing in the show they did, Unidentified. A little bit of that on their show, right, if you guys remember watching that show. And we followed this very closely on Troubled Minds the whole time. But I don't know. So what is this all about? All right, I was listening to them talk last night, and this quote came up, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. If you want to hear like a pretty much almost line for line transcription of this entire conversation last night with Lou Elizondo, our good buddy UFO Joe, he did he usually live tweets when there's a big show on Coast to Coast on Sunday nights, so he did a pretty much live transcription of most of that show, and so I've got that. I'll be able to share that with you, and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. But this quote came up, and this is what got me thinking in terms of the show tonight, all right? And I know this is probably not quite so existential as a lot of the things that Troubled Minds does, but you got to listen and think in not just the terms of shoot or don't shoot, all right, when the aliens arrive. You got to think in terms of, well, the greater world. Think in terms of, the economy. Think in terms of, religions. What will the Vatican do if the aliens show up? Think in terms of the military. What will the military do if the aliens arrive? And so this was the quote that got me going, right? This was direct from, I'm not going to play any more than just this because I don't want to really piss off the other radio guys. But this was on that show last night, Coast to Coast, with George Knapp and Lou Elizondo. And this is what Lou said. He was discussing, well, what happens when they arrive? Like and he said he was, hypothetically, of course, he's the government insider that worked for ATIP and all the rest of this stuff at Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. But, right, I think if he kind of goes in terms like this, and he's supposedly the insider that knows about aliens and UFOs and all the rest, it makes you wonder about when he makes a statement like this.
If you ask somebody, are UFOs real? That's really the wrong question to ask somebody at this point. The real question is, what do we do about it? And how are we going to react when that first contact is officially made? what are we going to do, right? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to extend a hand, or are we going to, aim a rifle? And these are the things that we need to talk about.
Okay, you catch that? What are we going to do when the aliens arrive? Are we going to extend a hand? Are we going to run for the hills? Or are we going to aim a rifle? And again, right, it seems a pretty simple statement, because in terms of, right, violence, nonviolence, a lot of that is probably baked into many of us, whether, we believe in these endless wars that have been going on since, well, the dawn of humanity, or, we think that there can be a gentler future. Simple, right? A simple binary shoot or don't shoot. But again, there's more. Do we run from the hills? Do we try and make contact? Do we extend a hand? And that's what's on my mind tonight, all right? Not just in terms of, from a military basis or from a survival basis, but what about the rest of the world? What would change overnight? And we'll get into some more of that too. And so that's the first question, right? Should we shoot or should we not, right? Pretty simple. When aliens arrive, all right? Again, we're going to do a little bit of conspiracy speculation theater again tonight. Should we shoot or not shoot when the aliens arrive? That's the first thing. But the second one is, do you think that the alien, whatever they are, is a threat? That's the thing, right? That's the other question, because there's a lot of individuals that have had abduction type experiences, right? And some, they call them experiencers. And so some of those people will tell you that, it's a very, very difficult process to go through. It can kind of break your brain, right? Well, what about people that have had close contact with, UFOs, and they end up dead? Wouldn't you consider that as some sort of threat? Maybe, right? And there's a lot to it. And then again, back to the Stephen Greer and those type of contactees that say they're meditating and summoning lights in the sky. What about that in particular? Do you think that those guys are right? Or do you think that the military guys are right? Or, I don't know, maybe you guys have had actual contact and you can tell me specifically whether you think aliens are a threat or not. And so I was going to a little bit of just tongue-in-cheek tonight of shoot or don't shoot. But it's deeper than that, isn't it? It's definitely deeper than that. We'll play that clip a couple more times tonight just to let you know where my mind's at. And again, like I said, just kind of easing back into the troubled minds thing on a Monday after having a week off, and just trying to do my thing. And I hope you're here with me. So what are your thoughts on that as we begin tonight? This is what I'm thinking. All right. If the aliens arrive, is it a shoot, don't shoot situation? You guys seen how they train cops, right? They have like these kind of video games where they put a gun in their hand and there's a screen, and like the bad guy runs out, and it's literally kind of like a video game, and it turns into hostage situations, or shoot, don't shoot. You're briefed. Here's the call. You show up, and they said there's a gunman on the scene, and then they run out like on these screens in front of you, like very much like a video game, like real actors. Some are shooters, some are just hostages, some are just people running to and fro. Well, the shoot, don't shoot scenario in that instance is a lot more easy. And that's not even easy, to be perfectly honest, because it's split-second decisions, and you never know who's maybe disguising themselves to shoot back at you before you can even get a shot. So in any case, this is the same sort of thing, except, well, with worldwide implications. So that's what's on my mind tonight. What do you think? Do you think that the aliens, whoever they are out there, whatever they are, do you think there's any sort of threat involved with their presence? Okay. Many of us here have seen UFOs or believe that UFOs are real and they're a thing. And so that's, again, kind of like Lou said there in that clip, it's not really the best question to ask. It's not really about that. It's more about, so if clearly UFOs are real, but what are they? Are they being flown by little green men? Maybe. Maybe. Are they, I don't know. What's happening with that? I can't tell you, because again, like I've always said, I don't really presume to know the motivations of people, most people, other than myself, let alone aliens themselves. Okay. So I don't know. Like I said, it got me thinking. I also think it's a little strange, too, regarding Lou Elizondo, that everybody hangs on his every word, right? And here I am doing it, too. But he did say, what are we going to do? Extend a hand? Are we going to run for the hills? Or are we going to aim a rifle? And I wonder. It makes me wonder. So here we go. I got the links in the description down below, as always, guys. You can find this on YouTube. But this is the actual transcription from last night's show from UFO Joe at the UFO Joe on Twitter. Joe Murgia, friend of the show. He's been on the show a few times. Calls in randomly as well. And he was basically just kind of live tweeting this entire thing, like word for word, all the way down last night. And so, there's some value in this, because even if you missed the airing of the interview there, you still are able to kind of cruise through and kind of pick out spots and see what was happening. So good stuff. And that's what's on my mind tonight. Just as we begin, there's more, of course. We're going to get to more. And so the question becomes, let's see, is this working? No, it's not working. All right, we'll just roll with it. You have to imagine I'm there on the screen right now. But okay, so the thing is this, right? As we get down to the bottom of the hour here, that's the question. That's what's on my mind tonight. So it's not as easy as shoot, don't shoot, all right, if the aliens arrive, because there are kind of worldwide implications here. But what do you think? Do you think that the aliens are a threat? Right? That's the question. And like I said, some people have been abducted and things like this. And some people, we'll get into MILABS, MILABS, maybe some people say it that way, MILABS, which actually stands for military abductions, right? MILABS, military abductions. We'll get into that a little bit tonight as well. But I don't know. I think when you're considering that, they say that maybe some of these abduction scenarios actually have been the government kind of pulling some shenanigans, trying to make people believe that aliens are actually abducting them, things like this. And that's what I mean. Like it's not as easy as that, is it? Like, and when you're talking about shoot, don't shoot, or threat, no threat, when it's not even exactly clear who's really pulling off these abductions. It's been sort of argued in the past a little bit here and there that not only have the cattle mutilations been kind of anomalous and things like this, but they've also pointed blame at the government for staging these cattle mutilations to make people believe all kinds of wild and crazy things. So I don't know. I think that's the there you go. Got some good chat out there. I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. But okay, so that's what I mean, and that's what's on my mind tonight. So what do you think? What do you think? Should we shoot? Should we not shoot? Sorry, I got a couple calls here. Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. Go right ahead.
Hey, I think it would all just determine, it's got a, what do you call it? Echo.
Oh, sorry. Can I fix that? Maybe I can fix that. If not, just power through it. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So it's got, or what do you call it? So Ark Survival is like a video game, and like you got different servers. And I think if you think of it, like if consciousness is universal, like, and the aliens are similar to us, then it would be definitely like they're either running from like something, running from like their star blowing up, or escaping, or just, it would be kind of like server hopping, I would imagine it. And when you're hopping servers, you're either kicked out of yours or searching for trouble. Like maybe doing like what I would do is when I went out of server is I would fly around on these birds. Like they have giant birds in this game. So I'd fly around to people and see how united the server is. And like if the server's united, you can tell. Like you can just tell by the way everything's structured. Like some servers will have no trees because like they'll take all trees down because attackers will come in and then they'll attack and then they'll run into the trees. So like it would be more, you kind of know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. So the aliens in this scenario are actually trying to possibly, who knows? Maybe they're looking for a situation that seems soft that they can take advantage of, right? Maybe something like that, or maybe they're just scouting, or who knows? Again, you'd have to take in their motivation into account. Sorry to cut you off, my friend. Do you want to hang on till after the break?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so hang tight. I'm going to put you on hold. We're here with Joseph in Iowa. We'll get back to him in just a moment. Thanks for being patient with me. And we got Robert on deck after that. Stay tuned for that. But we're talking about alien invasion. Not really invasion. But what happens if we have some sort of actual contact in the near future? Do we shoot? Do we not shoot? Is it somewhere in between? Is it not as simple as that? So I'd love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls tonight as we discuss, well, if the aliens arrive, how should we handle this? All right, and again, a little bit of conspiracy speculation theater here. But Lou Elizondo, last night on Coast to Coast, said, do we run for the hills? Do we aim the rifle, or do we extend a hand? What do you think? Do you want to be part of the discussion tonight? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And it seems like an easy question, right? It seems super easy, but it's not. It's just not, because it's complicated, because we're talking about the fate of the world hanging in the balance, possibly, right? So for the first knucklehead to just pull his AR-15 out and start popping some caps at aliens, at UFOs, seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Yeah, so anyway, we still got Joseph on the phone. Let's go back to Joseph. Thank you for waiting, my friend. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, I feel like the aliens, if they did get here, they would be so powerful that hopefully if they were here today, we would be a terrarium to them. If not, aside, I don't know, if they'd want to, because they're from a different place, and they wouldn't want to mix their DNA, they wouldn't want to get sick, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they come from a different vibrational field, and then they start coming into the world as we know it, and I don't know, like a war on vibration, like the current consciousness. I don't know.
Yeah. So what you're saying actually is that guns may be a moot point. It may not even be about that at all, right? It could be a contentious process without any sort of physical throwing lead at anybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They could just take over our consciousness. Kind of like that movie. There's this one where lizards come. And I imagine something that would come that would is highly adaptable, probably something on this planet here, even that we don't know about, something that can adapt to living in space. There's stuff, and then eventually it becomes more and more complex somehow, maybe because creatures like us that experiment on them, and then they would eventually take over the people who experimented on them or set free. So but these lizard people in this movie, I was saying, they look at you and in the movie they vibrate, they click and stuff. And then the people would turn on their soldiers, or they would pull the grenade on the pin and run back towards the front or something.
Okay. And so they're kind of a physical battle by just non-physical means. That makes a ton of sense, because you would expect it to not be like we think in terms of modern warfare and things like this. Why would aliens have anything to do with that? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So back to the original question though. So what do you think we should do? The three options Lou gave in the clip there is run for the hills, extend a hand, or aim the rifle. What do you think?
I'd say extend the hand at first. It depends though, because you can really tell, that server hopping thing I was talking about, you can really tell someone is an enemy from a foe, just or maybe not. You know, maybe they have just, you wouldn't even be able to tell.
Gotcha. All right, I like it. So be prepared for anything, but lead with the open hand and expect to hopefully maybe make a treaty, make a deal, maybe live peacefully together, right?
Yeah, I think if they came here, they would definitely have ill intentions, though. Like, they would either want to observe us and probably not step in, or, you know, I don't know, because it would be weird, you know. Because imagine they would be thinking of maybe they got someone who stepped in their timeline. You know, kind of like what we call what do you call it? Like a generational, like something that happens to your parents and then they pass on, and like something that they pass on. Like it's just normal to them to intervene in people's evolution.
Gotcha. All right. So I do like your take. Be skeptical. Be ready for anything, but let's lead with some peace and see where that leads us. I appreciate the call, my friend. You were the best. We got a phone call behind you. We got to bounce. Joseph here has a YouTube channel called Hydra Host. Check it out. Links in the description. He does some original music and some other stuff. I appreciate the phone call, Joseph. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of this.
Yep.
Have a great one. Thank you. All right, there you go. Easy as that. We're talking about, again, last night on Coast to Coast, we had Lou Elizondo was actually discussing with George Knapp what happens when the aliens arrive, right? Let me play this clip real quick and we'll go to Robert. This is what was said. Lou Elizondo, again, the ATIP insider, the government insider that supposedly knows the real truth about UFOs, but he said this.
If you ask somebody, are UFOs real? That's really the wrong question to ask. Somebody at this point. The real question is, what do we do about it? You know, and how are we going to react when that first contact is officially made? What are we going to do? Right? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to extend a hand, or are we going to, aim a rifle? And these are the things that we need to talk about.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Thanks for your patience, my friend. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Okay. This first question. How do we respond when aliens arrive? All right. It just makes me shrug, because the aliens have been here on this planet long before we were. I mean, it's in the literature. All right, so the idea we're waiting for them to arrive, they've been here forever.
Okay. And actually in that same interview last night, Lou kind of hinted at that as well. He didn't flat out say it because he can't, but he did hint at that possibility. But I love the idea. Go right ahead, sir.
Also, besides that, you mentioned something, a possibility that the military may be creating illusions of abductions for abductees. There's been UFOs, alien abductions, long before the military had the tech to play with, to mess up with our minds, long before they had the tech. So, no, I think they're probably real.
Okay, so have you ever heard of that term, the MILABs, MILABS? It's military abductions is what it stands for. So the question is, not that, sure, probably some are real, but do you think that the government has a hand in some other meddling shenanigans as part of that as well?
I think the government, when Alonzo says, what will we do when the aliens arrive? Are we going to hold a hand out? Are we going to shoot them? Are we going to run for the hills? The government, this is what puzzles me about him. If he was so, knowledgeable, so into what was going on when he was with the Pentagon, he would know that the government has already made deals with these aliens. That they've already work things out diplomatically, a swap for this, a swap for that. He should know that, and that puzzles me about him. Why is he? I'm trying to find the word. Just hesitating to tell that, to even say that.
Yeah,
he's prevaricating.
Yeah, I agree. There seems to be some weirdness with it in terms of he's supposed to be the guy that knows. So he's kind of actually speaking in terms of like he was me, like he has a troubled mind, right? And like we would be speaking. I think that's the odd part, and I think you're right there, which is what perplexed not just you, a great number of people that are into UFOs and that whole conversation. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think, okay, so if they've been here, what do you think about their intentions? Speaking about alien intentions, do you think that there's actually maybe some nefarious intention assigned to them, whether they've been here forever or they've been here recently or all of the above?
I think they've been here since before we were. I think they created us. I think that the whole history of human beings and the Earth are simply a zoological experiment that the aliens have been doing for millennia.
Okay, all right, and that makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons too. So I'm with you. So do you think basically that conversation is sort of moot, and that if they've been here, if we're part of their maybe DNA experimentation or whatever's happening with that there is going to be no shooting of aliens, right? There's going to be no, like, whatever happens. Well, I guess something would have to happen, right? Let's say that contact was made.
Keep in mind the government has said repeatedly, all throughout all Project Blue Book, the one before Project Blue Book, the investigations in the 90s, have made one statement that doesn't vary, is that they're no threat to us. Now, they know that, and they're telling us that. That's all they'll tell us, that they're no threat to us.
Well, it depends on who you ask, because some folks have said that they are a threat, and we need to do something about it.
Yeah, but in their reports, in the conclusions of every one of the reports, from the Condon Report, Project Blue Book, the investigations, the Pentagon releases, under when Bill Clinton was president, they always come out with a document, and it always says they are no threat to national security.
Okay.
It's not me saying individuals have said this. This is always the conclusion of every report since the 50s.
Okay, so you think it's no chance they're a threat here?
Yeah, like I said earlier, our military's been cooperating. Diplomacy, the State Department, the military. We're getting something, and they're getting something. Maybe we look the other way, people, and do all these Fauci-like experiments on them. Yeah. And we look the other way. But also, look at the history of these UFOs. All they've really proven, this idea that they are some kind of an advanced race of people who are so far ahead of us that we're kind of like dodo birds or something, I find that there's no evidence of that at all. All we've seen is they have these craft that can go real fast. We don't even have proof that they come from outer space, but we know they have these craft that go real fast. All right, they can outmaneuver our people. We know that they can interfere with our nuclear missiles and our nuclear installations. We know they have that kind of power. But where's the power that they've ever shown where they could fire something or shoot something and destroy something?
So actually, there's a report that just came out, unknownboundaries.com here, that this was posted by January 12th by Chet Dembeck. And a study was done. You asked, so I got information here. I'm going to tell you. A scientist by the name of Nolan, I think it's is it Gary Nolan? Anyway, he did a bunch of MRIs. We recently talked about this in that show with the Havana syndrome, if you remember that show, where there's maybe some link between those symptoms and people that have actually been in close contact, pilots or whatnot, with UFOs. Now, the crazy part here is that they said that here's the quote from the Dr. Nolan says, of the 100 or so patients that we looked at, about a quarter of them died from their injuries. The majority of these patients had symptomology that's basically identical to what's now called Havana syndrome. So we talked about that on just a smidge on the Havana syndrome show. But if that's the case, and we're talking about possibly people being killed maybe through radiation or some other close contact, is that not a threat?
Well, for one thing, where's this evidence that UFOs had anything to do with that?
That's true. Per usual and always.
Right,
right?
This is just isn't it just basically conjecture on his part?
No, I think these are claims of so they went and found particular cases of individuals, and this is sort of Monday morning quarterback style. So clearly he wasn't there for all of them, but he's looking at the symptoms after the fact and kind of putting the data together.
So these are people who have come forward.
Correct. Yes.
And said, I had this encounter with the UFO, and now I'm sick.
Yes, exactly. And then MRIs were conducted, and so he's kind of going back and checking some of the medical reports of these individuals. And again, out of the 100, he said,
it's kind of like COVID. It's like that virus or whatever they talk about that's going around, where you lose a sense of taste or you lose a sense of smell. All right, being near to a UFO causes some other kind of things, brain fog, whatever. It causes people to get ill, and that's been the case for a long time. I mean, there have been people that have experienced radiation burns from these UFOs, but it wasn't deliberate. The UFOs didn't deliberately radiate them. It's because they got close and they got burned.
Gotcha. I see. So even if this was true, 100% true, this data that we're talking about by this Dr. Nolan, that it could have been incidental, accidents, right?
Sure. What I'm asking here is some kind of example of where a UFO ever deliberately used a weapon to harm anybody. I mean, people, if I'm in my car and somebody steps, crawls under my car and touches my exhaust system and burns their hand, it's not my fault. I didn't ask them to do that. I didn't deliberately do that. If somebody goes encounters a UFO, the UFO, there's no evidence the UFO encouraged that. All right, curiosity. Somebody approaches a UFO, they're not responsible. It wasn't any deliberate action on their part that the person got radiation sickness.
Okay,
they didn't ask them to do it, to come to approach.
Right. So
what I'm trying to say is, where's there evidence that these UFOs have ever deliberately launched any kind of attack against anybody?
I've got quite a bit. We'll get to it tonight as we go. I'm glad you asked, because I came prepared, and I've got. So this is just the first case. This is recent, where again Dr. Nolan has said that just what I told you, but there's a whole bunch more of different incidents throughout the years, and I think this is the craziest part. What you described is maybe some of these things, the Mantell incident and some of these old ones. Maybe they are accidents, inadvertent, exactly.
Inadvertent.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so you think
what you're talking about is I don't want to let you go yet.
That's fine.
You're saying that these people, that this scientist or whatever is talking about, that they're claiming that these UFOs attacked them?
Well,
in
no,
some way?
no. I think each case is going to be different, but what they all had in common is close contact with UFOs, and then debilitating damage and or death after the fact. So that's why.
Denying that. I'm not denying that, but was it because the UFOs deliberately harmed them, or did they harm themselves by approaching those UFOs? Was it inadvertent or was it deliberate?
And that's a fantastic point. 100%. If you have to attribute a motivation to, let's say, the aliens, as we know everything we know about them today, do you think they are hostile in any manner at all?
No, I think they're curious. All right, I think some of them are just, would be like the Dr. Fauci of spacemen, all right, who like to do experiments, determine whatever DNA experience or whatever that they do in some of these abductions. But I also think that we're a zoological experiment, that they created us, all right, millions of years ago. All right, it may be just like the Anunnaki, where they created us to do their mining and things like that, and then things got out of hand or whatever. But they're monitoring us like researchers in a lab. All right, they have no ill will, but they also don't have a sense of morality, of compassion. All right, because they're kind of like Elon Musk. They have no real, like we're just like in a laboratory where some scientists are doing nasty things. We're like little furry dog in a laboratory where some scientist is doing some terrible things in an experiment. All right, and doesn't think anything of the scientist, doesn't have no emotion about it. It's just part of the job. Well, that's what I think these aliens, I think they lack any ability. They're detached. They lack any ability to bond or feel compassion for what they're monitoring.
So we're just mice to them.
They're just looking at it from a technological, scientific observation.
Okay, that makes sense. And I like the alien Dr. Fauci. That was pretty funny. Definitely pretty funny.
Well, look what those aliens did to poor old Barney Hill and his wife. I mean, they were, and then there was Walton. Apparently, they put him through for some real bad stuff too. All right, but again, I don't think they have malice. I think they just have a scientific curiosity. They don't, I'm looking for the words to use to explain that. They don't feel anything for us outside of curiosity of like in a lab.
Right.
They're not being mean to us deliberately. All right, when they do this, I remember the one case where I think it was the Betty Hill case, where she said, "You can't do this." Oh, yes, we can. We have a right to do this. Something like that was said to one of these abductees. We had every right to do this. All right, but they were dispassionate. They just went through their business just like they were doing in a lab, and that's it.
And we're the rats. We're the rats, unfortunately. We're out of time, my friend. Robert in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. I appreciate the phone call. You're the best. Great takes, as always. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night, my man.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. There you go. Taking your phone calls tonight. Great stuff from Robert. He's got a book. Check it out. Stories from a Fractured Mind. Links in the description. Well, we're talking about aliens, right? We're talking about this whole threat narrative. Do you think there is something to the fact that maybe aliens are a threat to us, to the world, to humanity at large? That's what we're talking about tonight. What do we do? Do we extend a hand? Do we aim the rifle? Do we run for the hills? That's the words of our esteemed colleague Lou Elizondo on Coast to Coast last night, and love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be a part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More aliens, abductions, me labs, and you when we return. Be right back. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories, or ideas, or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Monday night. That's one of the nights we get together at 7 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Thursday, and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Of course, we're live. We're always doing this live as we stream on YouTube, Rockfin, D-Live, and Twitter. See, I've been out of practice. Take a week off. Everything goes to hell. And we're, of course, broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight as we discuss what do you think would be the motivations of aliens, all right? I don't presume to know the answer to that, but it is an interesting sort of philosophical question. And if, let's say that aliens, regardless of their motivation, how should we treat them? Let's say they, I don't know, whatever disclosure happened tomorrow, or maybe as Robert said, disclosure was a long time ago, and we're just catching up to that fact now in the modern day. And, well, how would that look? Lou Elizondo said last night on Coast to Coast that we should really assess what this looks like. And are we actually going to consider a few options? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to actually point the rifle at them? Or are we going to extend our hand and look to be part of a broken webcam again? Or that's what we're talking about tonight, all right? So there's a whole lot that goes into this. It seems, maybe easy on its face, okay? Violence or no violence, right? I mean, clearly, if we're dealing with a technologically superior entity of sorts, then we're probably not going to go guns blazing, right? That doesn't make any sense at all. But like Joseph said, that maybe, just maybe, we got to be ready because you don't know. You don't know what their motivations actually are. We'll get into some of the reasons why I say that because there seems to be, depending on how you, as always, depending on how you gather the data, all right, the information. And the reason I say that is because this is the way the whole world works now. There's no such thing as truth anymore. It's about which data you gather to back up whatever case you're trying to make. And so what I've done is I've gone through and sort of put up a mini case of why these aliens throughout the years may be dangerous to people. And like Robert said when he called in just a little while ago, maybe it's an accident. Maybe it's incidental stuff. Maybe some of the incidents that we've had are our own fault for getting too close or, kind of poking the bear sort of thing. Maybe that's the case, all right? But if it's not, then, well, there's a whole lot that goes to it, right? What's up? I see you there, Penelope, a.k.a. Marla. How are you? What's happening? Wolf J and the Greg, I see you guys over on the Fringe Discord as well. But what we're doing is we're discussing that. We're taking your phone calls tonight, including, discussing what do you think the motivations of aliens are or would be, all right? And then what do you think our stance should be as people? Should we do that, run for the hills? Should we shoot? Should we maybe try diplomacy first? Do you think it's something to be afraid of? And you know me, my basic take on most things is just be not afraid. That's my basic take. So I'm not suggesting be afraid is one of the things we should be, because I just reject that entirely, because it allows you to be manipulated, right? I don't like that. But, right, given what does it mean for the rest of us? What does it mean for individuals that maybe have had contact, right? People that say they've been abducted, like Robert said there, Betty and Barney Hill, right? They did some terrible things to them, and they're not the only ones. So we're going to get into military abductions as well, and I've put together a bunch of a narrative, let's say, of maybe that alien threat narrative. So there we go. All right, so let's that's what we're doing tonight. So one more time, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show, and there we go. Let's go to our good buddy James Salcedo. Let's see. Let's find a thing. I'm all out of sorts because everything's breaking on the fly. But let's go to James. James of Salcedo Paranormal. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go right ahead, man. Happy Monday to you. And what do you think? What do you think about this? I don't know if you were listening last night. We were talking a little bit about it on the Discord, if you popped in and listened to a little bit of Coast to Coast there. But he said a spicy thing, right? Should we point the rifle? Should we head for the hills? Should we try and extend a hand? What's your take on that?
Well, I always think it's good to extend a hand while keeping that rifle maybe nearby, just in case. But the thing that always gets me about any of this is I would be very surprised if aliens came out and said, we're here to make peace, or we're here to attack, and that was true for every alien out there. Just like I'd be very surprised if someone from our species went up to aliens and said, we're here to make peace or to attack.
Right.
How can any one being of any one species speak for that entire species or multiple species? I think there's maybe that, yeah, you can have like an official response or whatever, but I don't think that. I mean, obviously that can't. I'd have a hard time believing that's the case for everyone.
Yeah, because we wouldn't, right? It's not going to be like, oh, what's up? My name is Mike. I'm going to kick your ass, right? It's not the way this works. Like, yeah. you're setting yourself up to get your own ass kicked, aren't you? So yeah. I agree with you there in that, knowing direct implications of what a alien species might want from us it's sticky, right? Because even if maybe their motivation was benevolent to begin with, maybe as they learn more about people and how despicable and disgusting we can be, maybe they might change their mind too, right? I mean, that sort of plays into this as well.
Yeah, if you think of any, I'm sure probably almost any decision made by any government or organization, there's usually going to be at least some people that aren't necessarily happy with it.
Yeah, and there's going to be an argument. Yeah. You watched any amount of Congress recently? They can't agree on anything.
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So okay. So you're saying that even if so, I agree with you. I'm ready to go down swinging if that's what it takes, and I'm not a violent guy. I think that's literally the last option. But if we have like an actual like maybe invasion happening and it's going to change the way we live, maybe for the worse. I don't know. Maybe it is rifle time. I'm not sure. Again, but because you got to think too in terms of how much worse can it be? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like there's that meme going around. I'm sure you've seen this where they're like, the aliens announce, oh, the aliens are taking over. We've imprisoned your leaders or killed your leaders or whatever the verbiage is they use. And then they're like, waiting for a statement from humanity, and we're like, yay. Thanks.
And I love that one.
We're glad you're here, right?
Yeah, I love that one because, I mean, I always say, even though I don't ever support violence, if that happened and they just did that and there was no, we had no part in it, well, I mean, we got to deal with what's happening now. So, okay. Sounds, that's okay. Whatever. It's done now. So let's move on,
Yeah, exactly. Like, sweet. You got a new government for us? Like, can we actually like get some of the stuff back that we're supposed to get? like maybe this is better for us, right? And I think that's the crazy thing, right? Like, considering just again how like horrific things have been humanity wise, right? You look at some of the countries in the world still that just butcher people for just being political dissidents, for being prisoners of conscience, all the rest of this stuff, like the Uyghur Muslims in China, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of really terrible things still happening with people that, I mean, we haven't got our stuff together, and as a planet, and it's unclear if we ever will. I think that's the frustrating part about all this. But even so, I think you're right, and the point is very, very solid here, that even if they showed up and said we come in peace, and we said we come in peace, what are the motivations, right? You got to believe that behind the scenes, the CIA is putting together a plan to steal some alien tech. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and how do we know they have it all together? I mean, what if they appear like they're so advanced in terms of spirituality and morality and all that, but then we find out after, oh, hey, they're a lot like us, So, I mean, yeah, that's why I have a hard time. I've just with looking into all the paranormal and all this stuff, I have a real hard time with absolutes and extremes. I feel like things are always a little more complicated than that, at the very least.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's not that's why when you're kind of faced with the binary straw man choice, it's like, no, I don't want to play that game, right? There's a larger conversation to be had than just that stupid, A or B, and check the box. It's life isn't that simple. If life was that simple, things would be a lot different, wouldn't there?
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure. So, did you get a chance to listen to some of that interview last night from Coast to Coast?
For a little while, and I found it kind of funny though, also that they those two seem to be very much on the same page overall, from what I heard, which is always interesting, but also kind of like, now I know why I don't listen to a lot of those shows all the time, because it seems like you get a lot of just confirmation over and over again of, this is our point of view, and this is you should all support this, and so. But yeah, I did listen to it a little bit, and it was interesting. I do. Elizondo is interesting, if nothing else. I really do wonder how much he knows that he's. I wonder how much of he knows that he's not saying, or how much he's just. He wants us to think that he knows. That he's not saying.
Layers and layers to that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And so that's why I was fascinated. That's why when I heard he was going to be on the radio last night, I tuned in, and I'm just like, I wasn't like, so many people are just stuck to every word the guy says. I'm more like, put him on while I'm, cleaning the garage, like Beechwood. What's up, Beechwood? And shout out to you out there if you're cleaning the garage right now. but I don't know, like if I don't know. Like he kind of hinted as well last night that if you're looking for alien bodies and crashed UFOs, like to come back in 5 years, because things just don't happen that fast, right? And he said hypothetically speaking, of course, because he couldn't say either one of those things actually existed. But pretty spicy language from a ex intelligence officer, right? That's trying not to go afoul of his NDAs.
Yeah, and it's also, I did like that. I thought that statement was interesting also in that it kind of goes against the whole popular idea or desire of the whole UFO, a lot of the UFO community, that they want all the answers now. That is the one thing I do find interesting about Elizondo. He's not promising that. You know, he's not saying it's gonna be any day now, any day. No, he's not saying that. So I think that's interesting. That's why I'm not sure what I think about him.
Yeah, he does. Sometimes some of the things he says are pretty bombastic a little bit, but he walks them back often as well. So it's not like it's like he's constantly towing that line, but then backing off of it as well. So I'm with you. I don't know. And some people say that he's CIA, disinformation. I don't know, man. It's like we can't even figure out the motivations of our own people, let alone motivations of aliens, for crying out loud, right?
Exactly it. That's my point. I mean, we have to just be careful and hopeful. We have to be careful, but also just hope at all times that things can work out.
Exactly. Fantastic stuff. Anything else you got for us regarding this or aliens or any of the rest?
No, that was it. But great topic and great calls already tonight.
All right, appreciate it. And you as well. Great call from you, my good friend James. This is James Salcedo of the podcast, Salcedo Paranormal. You can check him out. Link is in the description down below. And he does paranormal stuff 5 nights a week. So go check that out. You can participate in his lives sometimes. And you can listen to him 5 nights a week at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So thanks, James. You're the best. Appreciate you listening. Thanks for being my friend. You're the man. And thanks for calling in.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. But
that's what I said. That's what I said, James. Thanks for
That's what you said. That's right.
That's totally what I said.
Just confirming what you said.
Yeah, perfect, right? Exactly. Appreciate it, bro.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks. There you go. Give James a follow. He's a good dude, and he's doing good work over there, talking about paranormal stuff. And again, that's the whole point of this. The whole point is just kind of expanding just the brain in that to consider possibilities, right? Other possibilities, and I think aliens and their motivations are probably a good way to say other possibilities. Good stuff. I see you guys there. What's going on? And I see you guys in the chat. And if you want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about this. Again, webcam died again, but this is what we're talking about. Lou Elizondo said this last night on Coast to Coast. Listen to this.
If you ask somebody, are UFOs real? That's really the wrong question to ask somebody at this point. The real question is, what do we do about it? And how are we going to react when that first contact is officially made? What are we going to do? Right? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to extend a hand, or are we going to aim a rifle? And these are the things that we need to talk about.
And again, right, so nice that he didn't give us just 2 options there. We got a third option. We can extend the hand. We're going to run for the hills. We're going to aim a rifle, right? Nice that it wasn't just that binary straw man that James and I were talking about there. But I don't know. What do you think? I think that's the question here, is that regarding, let's say aliens come, where do we stand? Again, like we were saying about our own folks, our own government officials and people that kind of bounce out and, out of the government and try and say this stuff about aliens. You can only believe half of them, right? And then the other half, you're like scratching your head about, like, okay, are they right? Are they wrong? Are they trying to fool us? Like, we can't even figure that stuff out. So figuring out what the motivations of aliens might be becomes a monumental Herculean chore, in my opinion. So I don't know. I'm with James. I think in that sense, let's go easy. Let's go soft. Let's not try and cause a fight just yet. But be ready just in case. Always be ready. You never know what's around the corner. But that's what's on my mind tonight. What do you think the motivations of aliens would be if there was some sort of contact, like Robert said over on Rockfin when he called in previously? And I think he was spot on too, is that it's possible they've been here for a very long time anyway. So what would change, right? How would any of that change? I don't know. I don't know. And love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. Oops, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. As I'm constantly and always, it seems, wrestling with tech issues. This is why you reboot, actually, before you start. And I did, so you clear all the software gremlins. And I still have software gremlins, so that's not good. That's not a good thing. All right, so anyway, let's go to this article. Now, I brought this up when Robert called in, and this is from unknownboundaries.com, and this is put together by Chet Dembeck, and he's citing this, right? He says that even though some news outlets, such as the New York Post and Vice's Motherboard, reported on the research of Dr. Gary Nolan, a professor of pathology at Stanford University who has published more than 300 research articles and holds 40 U.S. patents on how some close encounters with UFOs may have caused brain damage and even death for some pilots, okay? They didn't dwell on this exceedingly dangerous aspect of his discovery, saying that the media just kind of shrugged their shoulders like whatevs, right? He says, to me, the fact that the U.S. government hired Nolan to look into this phenomenon is earth-shattering and certainly a big, big story. Yet its ramifications have been brushed aside and marginalized as if such news is no big deal. And what did Nolan find? And this was according to the New York Post. And we did pull this article up when we talked about that Havana syndrome because there was a link, right? There was a link. And here we go. So let's see. According to the New York Post, Nolan's involvement with UAPs began after he was asked to use his blood analysis instrumentation to help with cases of pilots who were close to alleged UAPs or UFOs and horrible brain damage. When asked if he could describe the more abnormal effects on the brains observed with the MRIs, Nolan said, quote, "If you've ever looked at an MRI of somebody with multiple sclerosis, that's something called white matter disease. It's scarring." He continued, "It's a big white blob or multiple white blobs scattered throughout the MRI. It's essentially dead tissue where the immune system has attacked the brain," he continued. And then we continue the quote here, "That's probably the closest thing you could come to if you wanted to look at a snapshot from one of these individuals. You can pretty quickly see that there's something wrong." All right. And he says approximately 100 patients, mostly defense or government personnel or people working in the aerospace industry, were analyzed, Nolan told Motherboard. That's Gary Nolan. And he says of the 100 or so patients that we looked at, about a quarter of them died from their injuries. The majority of these patients, so about a quarter of them died, but the majority of these patients had symptomology that's basically identical to what's now called Havana syndrome. And so he says, let's see, while Nolan didn't specify what kind of sickness these individuals had or how many have died as a result, there can be little doubt such effects would be a major concern for the Defense Department. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So, I've been known to bag on the narrative of the threat narrative from UFOs for quite a while because I don't like fear mongering in general. Or I just don't like it. I think it robs hope from people, and it's easy to manipulate people when it's fear all the time. And that's why I do this is because there are ways to talk about these really big ideas without being afraid of the ideas, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's going on. So I don't know. You tell me. As always, right? Looking to hear from you on this. The Greg over in the French Discord says the scariest thing is it's probably not aliens. Havana Syndrome 2.0, right? And that right there is exactly you kind of add that to the equation here, and who knows? I think that's the weirdness. So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. And again, what does it mean? What does all this mean? If again we're having maybe Havana Syndrome type in most of them, right? Again, out of about 100 military and government employees that were in quote close contact with these UFOs, a quarter of them died approximately, and most of them had the majority of the patients had the symptomology of Havana Syndrome. So that right there, and again, I've got some more stuff. I'm going to make a case for maybe the threat narrative tonight, just because I think that depending on how you pick the information out, there's always going to be a way to look at it one way or the other, and that's what happens in a post-truth world. So it comes down to, what do you believe? And tonight we're talking about aliens. And not just aliens, we're talking about their possible motivations. Do you think they're dangerous? What happens if their contact is made with aliens in some capacity? Do you think we should extend the hand? Do you think we should run for the hills? Or do you think we should aim the rifle? Love to hear your thoughts at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight as we discuss, what do you think is the motivation of aliens? Well, if you listened to Lou Elizondo last night on Coast to Coast, he said, it's hard to say. How would you approach that as a human race, as a planet Earth? How would you contact them? Would you come with the open hand? Would you run for the hills? Or would you get the guns? You tell me, what do you think is going on with that? Not just this idea of, well, maybe where this leads us, but something else. What do you think? Do you think the aliens are here? Do you think they're benevolent? Do you think they want something from us? I'm going to make a case tonight that there may be a threat narrative. And it seems funny, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, because we like to laugh at ourselves here on Troubled Minds as well, is the little thumbnail I got with the guy and the gun and the UFO. Shoot or don't shoot, right? Is that what we're going to do? Is that what this comes down to? As always, right, I don't like binary answers here, and I don't like the binary straw man, of course, because that just pisses me off entirely. And I don't think it's as simple as that. I think this is a complicated thing, as Joseph said previously when he called in tonight, is that it may not even be about any sort of physical anything. Like, who knows if guns can do damage to aliens at all? They might be some sort of consciousness sort of entity. So who really knows, right? But looking to hear from you guys tonight. One more time, that's 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to, looks like Eric in California. What's up, Eric? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Hi. Good show, by the way.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Go right ahead. What's your thought on this?
Well, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a man named Eric Mitchell. He lives in Hot Springs, Arkansas. He was in 2014, I believe it was, or 2013. I think it was 2013, July 28th. He had an object hover over a get-together that they were having, and this object struck. Something came from the object, whether it was a beam or an energy, whatever it was. It struck him in the head, and as a result of that, his IQ actually went up 30%, and then later he had some MRIs done, and there's a part of his brain, he says, that's lit up. He used the term lit up by about 30% in this one area of the brain, and Nolan knows about this, and Kit Green knows about it too. They're, for whatever reason, I don't understand why exactly they don't want people to know about the positive effects of some of these people that are having with these interactions or these experiences with these non-human entities. So I just want you to know that there are positives also, but for some reason they're focusing on the negatives. So I don't know if you've heard that or if you know anything about that.
Yeah, so not only that, I am familiar with that case, but the thing is, too, is I've kind of been railing against this threat narrative for a long time, just like I was saying a little bit earlier, is that I just don't like fear-mongering. It drives me nuts. But so I was just kind of listening to Lou Elizondo last night, and I thought, all right, so let's kind of maybe make that case to kind of just take the other tack for a night, right? I don't usually do this, but I was kind of trying to dig in a little bit and see if I could find cases where there were people being damaged or even killed by UFOs, right? And so there seems to be some legitimacy to that. But for again, like, millions of people see UFOs every year, right? I mean, every single year, it's like everywhere. And so the thing is, if you're measuring, UFO sightings and people getting close contact, this type of thing, versus, people damaged or dead, it's ridiculously a small number, right? So maybe, like Robert was saying, maybe it's inadvertent. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think inadvertent is probably accurate, and I do believe they're okay. Let's just jump back to your threat narrative point. In my opinion, the I think these guys want money. That's the bottom line. I mean, maybe there's more to it than that, but if they present it as a threat narrative, then they can get Congress and whoever it is that they need to lobby for money so that they can study this. But it's my opinion that $20 million probably didn't get it done last time. Maybe they want to learn more, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? But I think the threat narrative is more to get money. I don't really, if it was a threat, I think we would already realize that it's a threat on a level that would be more scary. But I don't see it, whatever's happening, personally, I don't see it as a threat. That's my own personal experience.
Yeah, that's okay. Have you heard of, I like you brought up Kit Green there. What about Dr. David Jacobs? Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him. Yeah, I'm very familiar with him.
Okay, so what do you think about him? He's the guy that says that this abduction phenomenon is probably a lot more widespread than we think, and that leads him to believe that it is sort of a threatening aspect.
Yeah, I mean, if you could, it wouldn't be unreasonable to say that hypothetically, if there are non-humans coming and intermingling, however they might do it scientifically with their hybridization or whatever, and maybe trying to create a hybrid human. I don't doubt that. Matter of fact, if I had to bet money, I would say that is happening. I don't know on the level that Jacob says, but I do believe that's happening. And but I think it's been happening for hundreds and thousands of years. I mean, if you really go back in history and you look how humanity has evolved and what happens in the ebb and flow every 12,000 years. I mean, I think this is just. We're the current humans living in this society currently right now. We're going through this, we'll call it a phase, and it's probably going to increase. And at some point, something's going to happen. I'm going to say in the next 15 years, we're probably going to see some dramatic changes. That's my prediction.
Okay, in maybe consciousness and how we accept this idea of maybe aliens have been here, that sort of thing, or do you think something else, like an actual, let's say, proverbial alien invasion, not like an actual Independence Day style? What do you mean? What's going to change?
I don't think there'll ever be an alien invasion like they try to sell it to us, but I do think that. Well, I was watching a video today about a guy that worked in Project Blue Book. Alan Seinfeld interviewed him like 8 years ago. I didn't even know that this had happened, but it's very complicated, obviously. I mean, talking about it's great, but whoever these beings are, whatever they are, I think they definitely are far more superior in intelligence and consciousness and technologically, I don't know that we can really do anything about it. I mean, even if we gave Congress, if Congress said, okay, here you guys go, here's $500 million, we want some answers. I don't think that's going to change anything. I think things are going to continue to happen the way they're happening. If they want to make hybrids, I think that humans are experimenting with hybridization. I think that humans are using, illegally probably, ET type technology and implementing it with humans and creating our own hybrids. I know it sounds nutty, but I believe that's happening.
No, it does. You don't even have to take it to ET. We got CRISPR, and we got these chimeras that are being created. I think just recently, this past week, the first actual, was it an organ transplant from a pig, right? Like a human pig hybrid organ, like made in a lab, was transplanted into a human body this past week. So I mean, to even say you don't even need to add aliens to that conversation to say we're doing that, because we're totally doing that. If they're doing it where they can tell us what's happening in underground labs in places like China or Indonesia, or places where they don't have prying eyes. I'm sure there's some pretty sick stuff going on out there. But yeah, amazing stuff. So you follow this UFO stuff pretty close, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I have a show that I co-host, but I'm not trying to plug it, called Altered with Vinny Kocius, whose father told her, and she's got the emails, and he also worked at Area 51, that she was spawned. The exact word that he told her was spawned in a government program where they mixed the genetics of extraterrestrials with humans. And so she claims that she is a living hybrid, but you wouldn't know by looking at her or talking to her. And I can't tell you 100% that this is true, because I can't prove it, but I don't think she's lying to me. I've known her for 5 years. So yeah, we're trying to uncover that. I really think that these programs have been going on for a long time. I'm not really sure what the point of it all is, but yeah, like you were just saying with the CRISPR thing, they've got the purebloods, they're saying, and then you've got the transhumanists. So, I mean, really, it's probably going to come down to that at some point where, like you talked about the Havana syndrome earlier, I do know that they have technology. Certainly our government and probably other governments have the technology to use, invisible beam energy waves and technology like that to be able to affect how people feel and think. That, I believe, is a fact that's already existing. So, I don't know. It's kind of a mess. The whole thing's a mess. Yeah, I don't know there's much we can do about it, is really what I guess my point is. Whatever they're doing, they're going to continue to do. I don't think we can stop them.
Yeah. Okay. So then regarding, and I kind of agree with you because, a lot of these people think that, writing letters to your Congress people is going to get something done with aliens. And again, like, I get it. I understand, but come on. I mean, we're literally talking about literally X-Files level cover up for 70 plus years, and who knows, maybe beyond that. And that's laughable to me. You can't even get a response on the Affordable Care Act from your Congress people. I mean, are you kidding me? Get out of here. Anyway, so regarding what Lou Elizondo said last night, what's your take real quick before I let you go? And I want to hear about your show one more time. If you can link that for me, I'd appreciate that. But what did you think? He said, run for the hills, grab the rifles, or he said, run for the hills, grab the rifles, or extend a hand. What do you think regarding that notion there?
Well, yeah. I haven't quite figured Lou out completely. I've talked to some people who have connections that John Warner. I don't know if you probably heard of John Warner, right? Is the cousins with Chris Mellon. I'm sure you're familiar with that guy.
Yep, definitely.
He seems to think it's a psyop. He's under the impression that this is just a psyop type thing where they're basically giving us this soft disclosure, but they can use that to kind of manipulate Congress to get money. And I believe that, actually. I think maybe there's a part of Lou that does want us to know as much of the truth as he's allowed to tell us, but we're never going to... Rick Doty said that we're never going to get full disclosure from the government, and I believe him, and I believe that to be the case. I don't think we're ever going to get the type of disclosure that people think we're going to get. We're not going to get that from the government, in my opinion.
No. Again, it would change everything, and we're talking about they would lose control. I'm with you on that. I wish I was wrong, and I hope to be wrong sometime in our lifetimes. But I just don't think so. I don't buy that. You're amazing, my friend. You looks like your first call. Am I right? Your first time calling in the show?
Yeah, first time. I've been following you. You're doing a good job, by the way. Really good work. I appreciate how you run your show and the way the topics. So yeah, I'm going to tune in whenever I can.
Thank you, appreciate that. And one more time, can you tell us what your show is, and also link it to me in the chat when you get off the phone here? I would appreciate that. I'll add it to the links down below.
Okay, I'll chat. Altered is the one show, but next week we're going to start recording for the Richard Doty Chronicles. I'll be co-hosting and producing that show, and that's actually going to be the show that I think a lot of people are going to want to listen to because he's going to divulge information that he's never divulged before. So I'm kind of excited about that show more than anything because I'm trying to get as much of the facts out as possible like you guys want, and that we can have more conversations about other things other than writing letters to Congress. You know what I mean? It's like, I love Lou, but I mean, we've heard this story now for 3 or 4 years. We need to move on to the next level, in my opinion. Yeah, so you're actually going to have Doty on your show? It's going to be his show and my show, but technically we're calling it the Richard Doty Chronicles because it's all his stories, all his information that he's collected working with Hal Puthoff. He's friends with Kit Green. I mean, he's very well connected. So all the information he did write a book. He presented it to the government. They declined it. They told him, you can't publish this. So then I says, well, can we do a radio show? We'll just talk about whatever we could talk about. Then you know your boundaries. And so he sent me a list of about 100 topics, and I said, "Okay, let's do it. Let's start recording. I can ask you questions. We can have a conversation. We can get emails. People can ask questions through emails. We can then answer the emails on the show." So yeah, I really want to try to push this to the next level. I mean, I feel what you're doing is great, and what everybody's doing is great, but we all want more. We want to try to get this whole topic into the next level of awareness and consciousness beyond just UFOs. I mean, I think we all know UFOs are real. There's no. I mean, people that haven't figured that out yet probably should just forget about it totally. They're not going to. If they don't know now, then they, Right. But anyway, yeah, I'll put that in the box, and you can follow me if you want on Twitter. It's @AwakeningMan. If you guys want to get more information on Twitter, you can find it there @AwakeningMan.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Check back in anytime. If you need help with the Doty stuff, I'd love to talk to that guy. Let me know. I'd love to be part of that if you'll have me.
You got it.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, buddy.
You're the best.
Later,
have a great night. There you go. That's Eric in California. Fantastic call. There you go. Again, and this is the thing, right? There's universal interest here. Like if the more you kind of zoom into what's really happening in the world around us, it seems like this UFO stuff seems to be important, right? I mean, what's really out there? Some people will just say, yeah, whatever, like I gotta go to work and pay my taxes. And I get it. You got to eat, right? You got to eat, but right. I mean, there's important things out there in the world that need people thinking about it, need people talking about it. So good stuff there. Appreciate the phone call, Eric, and thank you for dropping the links there. I'll add those to the show here as we finish tonight. So that's what's on my mind tonight. I'm going to play this clip one more time. And this is what we're talking about on Coast to Coast last night. Lou Elizondo said exactly this regarding what happens if we do meet ETs. Here we go.
If you ask somebody, are UFOs real? That's really the wrong question to ask somebody at this point. The real question is, what do we do about it? And how are we going to react when that first contact is officially made? What are we going to do? Right? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to extend a hand, or are we going to aim a rifle? And these are the things that we need to talk about.
And I couldn't agree more. These are the things we need to talk about. All right, so just kind of going through some of these things. Like I said, I put together sort of that threat narrative thing for you, right? I'm going to just burn through a few of these so you can see what I'm talking about. And basically, you can, in a post-truth world, you can cherry pick your data, you can make a case, and that's the way the world works anymore, right? So I was just kind of cruising through, and we've got that one from Dr. Gary Nolan, right, where he's talking about these, 100 cases of these government officials and pilots that got some sort of sickness, right? They got some sort of actual sickness from this. The majority of them actually had some sort of like Havana syndrome type symptoms, and about a quarter of them actually died as a result of being close to these UFOs, all right? There's more, though. So here we go. There's, let's see, here's another one. This is from The Guardian. This is more than 6 months old, but something's going on. UFOs threaten national security. U.S. politicians warn. There's your threat narrative. Here's more. This is from KTVU. That's a San Francisco station. U.S. lawmakers worried UFOs could pose threat to national security. All right, there's more here. UFO threat next disinformation campaign for Earth, and this is somebody. This is from the cairnsnews.org. CAIRNS News, and that's Queensland. I guess that's Australia. But Alexandra Bruce wrote this, and she's saying that that this is a farce. That there is no actual threat narrative. So I don't know. There's a whole lot to this, yeah. So, okay, what else do we got? Let's see. We got Cairns News. We got this other stuff. We got the unidentified.net, why the UFO threat narrative matters. And you could dig through this and just find this over and over and over again. Here's another one. This is exonews.org. UFO paralyzes weapons and electronic systems of Iranian military jets that tried shooting at it. All right. So, they say that, is this our fault? We shot at it first, apparently, according to this article here. And this is another one of those famous incidents. So let's see that in 1976, the Tehran Iran incident, residents of Tehran noticed in the sky an intensely bright object that was not supposed to be there. The Iranian Air Force dispatched 2 F-4 fighter jets to check out the object. The United States, an ally of Iran at the time, took this encounter very seriously. An incident report was sent to multiple national security officials, along with President Gerald R. Ford, CIA Director George Bush, and National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger. Oh boy, that name, Henry Kissinger. So anyway, both of the Iranian F-4 interceptor pilots reported seeing the object visually, and it was tracked on their airborne radar. At a distance of 25 miles from the object, both planes experienced critical instrumentation and electronics failure. In an excerpt from the Iranian military report, quote, Iranian Air Force jets and a UFO played cat and mouse, appearing on radar and paralyzing their weapons and electronic systems when the jets attempted to open fire on it. As the F-4 approached a range of 25 nautical miles, it lost all instrumentation and communications. So, well, there you go, right here at Fox News. Fighter pilot says UFO he chased in 2004 committed act of war. All right, let's go back to this. This is SGT report, and I'm just burning through some of these. We'll get into some of these cases as we go into the third hour here and slow down a little bit. I just want to make sure that, like I'm trying to explain, that in a post-truth world, you can paint a case however you want. And I largely disagree with this threat narrative stuff with the UFOs and all the rest of this. But I wanted to point out that Lou Elizondo last night had a good point, and that, well, what do we do? What could we do? And is it run for the hills? Is it extend a hand or grab the rifles? Well, that's a nice pick of three, but are there other options here? I don't know. But again, from SGT report, UFO paralyzes weapons and electronic systems. That's the same incident. We got this other one. How about this one? Good old, you got to love Texas. God bless Texas. This is from TexasUFOsightings.com. Quote, I looked through my gun scope at the object and got a good look at it. The flying saucer silently hovers over Texas. I mean, for crying out loud, if you're going to look at it, if you're going to use any kind of optical equipment to look at a UFO, it may as well be a gun sight. Am I right? It may as well be a gun sight. I don't know. There's more here, right? It goes on and on and on, right? The mirror, the man who saw shadow people. Again, all the links are down in the description box below, and you can always follow up on my links here. As see, I'm not just flat out making this stuff up. So just another quick couple before we got to finish this up. But Farmer, this is from Daily Star, of course, a tabloid. But Farmer was first man killed by UFO after, quote, aliens shot at him from flying saucer. Farmer Luis Barrasso Fernandez was shot by an alien flying saucer and died several days later, according to expert Philip Mantle. So again, right, tabloids, all fake. What is this? It's on and on and on and on is my point. And you can, again, post-truth world, it's sort of build your own narrative, right? So that's what we're doing tonight. And I don't know, what do you think regarding the Lou Elizondo talk last night, or just some of the options? What do you think the motivations of aliens are? MJ in the chat says nothing positive has come out of his actual abduction experiences, and so I'm apt to think that he's actually more of a more in line with maybe there's some sort of threat, right? I don't know. And so again, right, you ask 1,000 people, you get 1,000 different answers, and that's what this is all about anyway, right? It's all about what this all means, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to keep on doing, because it's not as easy as that. It seems like in a world full of propaganda, it seems like easy answers are easy, but I don't think it's easy at all. I think we find ourselves in a weird spot trying to explain all this stuff, and that's why we're going to keep talking about it. And by the way, don't mind me. I don't have any answers here. I'm just trying to kind of make cases and look at these things and figure out what in the world is going on, because it doesn't seem like there's anything easy about this. And that's what I wanted to say as we finish this up. And that's what's going on. So as you know, what we'll do is we wind this down is we go 2 hours on the radio on Fringe FM, and then we do a third hour off the radio on YouTube and all the rest of the platforms that we're streaming on. So as we finish, let's roll the music and get the heck out of here. It goes a little something like this. So, what are the motivations of would-be aliens? That's the question, right? I think that's a question we should keep on the top of our mind, because you never really know. And you never really know when maybe that come to Jesus moment's going to happen, and you need to know at least what you think in that regard. I say that tongue-in-cheek, don't get me wrong. But that's what's happening. So, as always, thank you for listening. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for all the amazing phone calls tonight. If you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. We're going to keep talking about alien motivations. We're going to talk about grab the guns or run for the hills. We're going to talk about all this. Should you shoot if you find an alien in the sky? I'm going to recommend you probably don't, at least right off. All right, so as we finish, thanks again for all the amazing phone calls, all the amazing chat. Thanks for being part of the discussion. And it ends like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Damn, I'm good. Down to the second. All right, what's going on, guys? We're going to keep talking about this. What do you think? What are the motivations of aliens regarding this Lou Elizondo discussion last night? We're not done yet. We got another hour of Troubled Minds coming up, so if you're out there enjoying the conversation, still taking your phone calls, still getting people on Discord if anybody's out there. What do you think? I think it's not so cut and dry as a binary type of conversation here regarding, well, should we shoot? Should we not shoot? Should we extend a hand? Should we not? I think it's complicated. Like many things in this world, I think the discussion is complicated, and that's why we do it in this format, to talk to you, to see what just regular people are thinking. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a good way. I'm just a regular person too. I have no extraordinary qualifications. I have no inside sources. I'm just a normal person. I want some answers too. I'm just not optimistic. In many cases, we're going to find them. But we can keep asking questions. So if you want to be part of the show, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link and we'll put you on the show. Easy peasy is that. Troubledminds.org, and we'll see you there. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. 2-minute break. I'll go through some of these cases that I talked about. And, well, do you think there is an actual threat narrative with UFOs? And do you think we should be wary of actual contact with aliens? So that's what's on my mind tonight. And you heard what Lou said. That's fine, but I want to hear what you have to say. Be right back. Taking your phone calls. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. Now let's fade this out properly and do a little something like this. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And now that I'm not chewing almonds, it's good to go. And we're going to do a third hour of this. If you guys are interested anyway, I know it's a little bit tame of a type of discussion for Troubled Minds. We're usually way, way, way out there. But I think it's important to kind of note what's going on in the UFO community as far as disclosure goes and the rest of that. So it is worth talking about. It is worth noting when something happens, right? And we're talking about that coast-to-coast interview last night with Lou Elizondo and George Knapp and all the rest of that. What's going on, guys? What's up, Tim? And now that we got a little extra time, we can be a little more social, read the chat. Over on Rockfin, Robert says, if the aliens were waiting for the perfect moment to conquer us, they would have done so long before the invention of the steam engine. And that's the truth. That's the damn truth. Tam Bam says, is it just me, but I would rather trust an alien than the government. And that's why they don't want us talking about this stuff, because they know that's the obvious answer. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing out there? What's up? Ronald says, if aliens do land, they'd better wait until William Shatner isn't around. He will try to bump uglies with all the green female aliens. And that's true if you watch Star Trek. What's going on, guys? It's totally true. Let's see. What's up? Tam Bam says, Mike, it's important to discern whether the aliens are hostile or peaceful, then make an informed decision to whip out an AK-47 or a peaceful hand. And that's true. That's, again, right? I like the way you think. We got to make sure you can't just shoot first and ask questions later. Humanity has done that for far too long, and absolutely. Let's see. Robert says, I'm often impressed by the critical thinking skills of this group. What is the evidence of this? What's the evidence for that? What, after tossing aside all the BS, can be surmised or even concluded by the concrete material left? Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem, is that it's not easy. It's not easy. What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Happy Monday. What's up? Thanks for the great phone call, Eric. Yeah, pig heart. It was a pig heart, right, Robert? That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. What's up, Adon? Donna says, I know a secret I won't tell. Uh-oh. All right, fine. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Let's see. God bless America. Yeehaw! What's up, Martin Liam? The famous Martin Liam. What's up, Rohan? How are you? 702-957-1037. Let's go to the other chat here and say hello. What's up, James? I see you there. What's up, Hippie Shekel? What's up, APOC? How's everybody doing? Let's see. Oh, were you being Average Joe? Yeah, no. No, we are Average Joe. I am Average Joe. So let's go back and read some of this chat. What's going on, guys? Still looking to hear from you tonight. What do you think? What do you think regarding motivations of aliens? Like I said, it is a little bit tame. It is a little bit tame with the conversation, considering what we normally talk about on this show. But again, I think it is important to circle back and talk about what's happening with a lot of the rest of this. So let's see. MJ says Savannah Syndrome, and that's true. Calculating Cannibal says Epic Call, James. Yep, definitely 100%. Let's see. What else? Who else is here? Super Champion. Marla's here. What's going on, Marla? What's up? Let's see. Who else do we have? What's up? We got another ban. Namdi. All right. You're going to get banned. All right. You know how to taxes, healthcare, doom mongering, and spamming the chat. Spamming the chat. Okay. There we go. Let's see. 1 sec. Gonna go make sure I ban all of the appropriate individuals. Appreciate that phone call. Eric says Awakening Man at Twitter, and still looking for your show link if you got it. I appreciate that. I'll put it in the description down below. Appreciate the phone call tonight. Okay. So let's see. What else do we got? Who else is here? What's happening? Oh, it looks like we already banned him. That was James. Thanks, James. James banned that fool. What's up, Hippie Shekel? Missed you, Mike. Thank you. Missed you as well. Thanks for missing me. Thanks for being interested in these conversations. That means a lot. Okay, so let's see. Shadows of the Moon says I'm still listening, just working, but as always, great show and calls. Thank you. Appreciate that. And still looking to hear from you guys. Like I said, if you're not interested and you're like, this is old hat. This isn't really what we do. It's not really what we do on this show. We don't really talk about Lou Elizondo and stuff like that. Just kind of in the periphery sometimes. But I think it was important to note some of the things he was dancing around last night, including if you look at, again, go back to that Joe Mega thread, the UFO Joe Mega thread, he was talking about all kinds of stuff in there about crash retrievals, alien bodies, talking about all kinds of stuff, right? And so what does that mean? I have no idea. I don't even know what to think of this other than, well, there you go. This is my YouTube account. My one with the other name got banned for trolling. Okay. All right. Well, let's not troll. Let's not do that. What's up, Super Champion says, we can make peace with our inner space aliens. That will make first contact go much more smooth. And yeah, absolutely. James says, James O on YouTube says, pig organs have been transplanted to humans before, but I think this was modified not to need all the immunosuppressive meds a normal one would need. Yeah, it had actually, it was a genetically modified hybrid, like an actual hybrid sort of organ, which seems creepy, right? It's creepy as hell. What's going on, guys? Let's see. Who else is out there? Who else? What's up? Who did I miss? All right. So looking to hear from you. What do you guys think? I'll go through some more of these cases. Like I said, some of this whole threat narrative business about the aliens being, I don't know, dangerous or not dangerous. Or you tell me. Anyway, so one more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, put you on the show. Easy as that. And where are we? Let's see. Make sure everything's fine. We're all fine here. How are you? Let's see. Yep. All right. Good. All right. No phone calls. So let's go to this. There's a lot of interesting things here regarding not just this. The UFO paralyzes the weapon system of the Iranian jet there, which was again in 1976. This one's a long time ago. Yeah. Let's see. So they're saying, right, that the report continues. The F-4 Phantoms. Let's go. Let's just reframe this real quick. So this was an incident in the Iran, in Tehran. The F-4 Phantoms actually, they launched two of them to engage with a UFO. All right, an actual UFO. They detected this thing on radar. They got close enough to actually take a shot at this thing, and just when they were about to fire, they said that their system shut down. So like complete instrumentation shut down because it looked like the thing had like sort of done, I don't know, like an EMP or something, or some sort of defensive measures to keep them from from shooting at it. So, and I think part of this is, it's always impossible to kind of backtrack on this and tell what's real. I know that John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault has done some work on this. Matter of fact, he has a nice story regarding this particular incident, that this was his very first FOIA. He said when he was a teenager, and he's now like the FOIA king, right? He's got 2 million pages, I think, of FOIA documents on his website. But his very first FOIA document he got back was regarding this incident, this Tehran incident in 1976. So anyway, so they approach this thing, they try and shoot at it, and of course what happens is it shuts down their instrumentation. So it says, the report continues. Another brightly lighted object came out of the original object. The second object headed straight toward the F4. After detaching from the bigger object, and of course this is a UFO, the second object turned aside the arc of the F4 itself and then regained the original object. This incident apparently lasted for several hours. So we're talking about this stuff bouncing back and forth and becoming, right, two pieces of two and then rejoining itself. And so this continues, objects splitting into two, traveling at speeds no man-made aircraft can, performing maneuvers that no known aircraft can, is again nothing new. This type of splitting in two was also observed in an incident occurring near Aguadilla, Puerto Rico airport in April of 2013. The incident was filmed, and a team of analysts working with the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, a private group of scientists, military analysts, and investigators produced a report analyzing the incident. So I don't know, is this exactly, a threat? I don't know. I mean, they didn't shoot down and kill the pilots, right? So I think it's weird here regarding that threat thing. Like Robert was saying earlier when he called in, is that it may be that this stuff is inadvertent. Like maybe we, sort of Icarus flew too close to the sun and the wax on our wings melted, and maybe we caused this damage to ourselves. It's impossible to know until maybe you're there. Has anybody out there actually had an incident that you could describe as maybe framing extraterrestrial, a contact incident that maybe you had in the terms of one way or the other, or even maybe an ambiguous sort of motivation, meaning that it wasn't benevolent or malevolent, it was just contact, and that was it, and there was no ill effects or no positive effects. It was just contact. I don't know. Still looking to hear from you. There's more of these we can get into and talk about. But as usual, I prefer speaking to you guys because that's what the show's all about. One more time, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show. Let's see. Checking the things. We got a phone call here. We'll take that in just a sec. Thank you very much for the phone calls, guys. Appreciate that. It does make the world go around for this show because I can ramble on forever, but it's just less fun. It's a lot less fun for me and for you. So we'll go to Matt in California in just 1 second as he dials in, but also looking to hear from you guys. What is going on? What's going on out there? Let's see. Game Veto 2 says, I always see ships and strange orbs. I have never witnessed an alien being, although I've heard noises like screams and music. That's wild. That's wild. What's going on, guys? Game Veto 2, thanks. Last night they put a chip in one of cats and showed me where. What are we talking about? I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, what's going on, guys? Just reading the chat. How's everybody? And let's see. Calculating Cannibal says, I share plenty of medical misinformation and I'm still here. Might have gotten reported. Medical misinformation, huh? Appreciate that, James. Thanks for that. Thanks for helping out. Bernays Sauce says, Picard valves used for years. And James O says, going to make barbecue a little on the macabre side tonight. All right. That's cool. That's cool by me. All right. So 702-957-1037. Talking about this threat narrative. We're talking about what Lou Elizondo said regarding UFOs. And do you think they're actually a threat? I think that's the pertinent question tonight. We'll play that clip again to kind of reframe this for people kind of bumping out and bumping in and rejoining us. But let's go to our good friend Matt in California. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Good.
Right on. Go right ahead. What do you think, man? What do you think about all this crazy stuff?
I just want to say, thanks for taking a break, and I'm glad to have you back.
Right on. Thanks for missing me. Thanks for not being too mad I was gone. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to kind of add, of course, this is all speculation. These are all, there's so many different scenarios and, so many different things that could happen. We can't we're just kind of talking about all of them. We can't predict really what could really happen. It could be something totally that we haven't even thought of. But I wanted to talk about, kind of add to what James was saying. Just like there's good people in the world and there's bad people in the world. Maybe, one race of aliens, there could be good, in their race, and there could be bad, not the whole entire planet of aliens is after us, just those ones. And so then that adds to, what about how many different species of aliens there are? There's so many that we're talking about. There's so many that we talk about. Those are just the ones we know about. How many species of aliens do you think there could be?
Well, okay, if we're talking aliens, clearly that it's a big universe, right? And we're not even talking like the multiverse and dimensional or any of the rest of that. There's got to be a shit ton.
Yeah.
There's got to be a shit ton of aliens, dude. I mean, like we saw today in the news show, like they're saying that they found possibly a carbon signature of ancient organic methane on Mars. And why that's not front page news the world over, you got me. But I mean, clearly, if one planet over, we're probably talking life a long time ago and probably life now. Dude, it's got to be everywhere. There's got to be a shit ton of aliens out there, right?
Yeah, so all the bird people, the lizard people, all the different types of, reptilian races and all the different kinds. There's no way to predict, like which ones would be good, which ones would be bad. Which ones are already here? That's another good question. Like maybe they could have already infiltrated our government from the inside. That's a good one. They don't need to take over.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and then another, there's all kinds of theories. But another one too is like, if the alien race is, technology enough to come here, well, first of all, like running to the hills isn't going to do anything, because if they did want to if they were hostile and they wanted to destroy us, they just would. And then also, if they're that much advanced, our little puny little weapons wouldn't do anything for them. They would already figured out, oh, they have these guns, we can, make a shield for it or something.
Yeah, and I think again, it's not so easy, is it? Well, I mean, like you said, if you run and they're determined to take us out, they're gonna. Right there, literally, like we just found out this past year how easy it is to, wink, wink, create something in a lab and just release it on the world. What do you think they could do if they really wanted to? There's no amount of running that would save us, right? That's I mean, it's just for sake of conversation, really. And then also get the guns. Yeah. That's also ridiculous. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those situations where you got to sue for peace and pray for the best, right? That they don't have malevolent intentions, because what can you do? Again, don't get me wrong. You want me on your side. I'm going to keep saying this because I'm going to go down swinging. But it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Yeah.
Let's hope it's not xenomorphs.
Yeah, or worse than that. There's so many things, like you said, we can't even think of the things that we haven't thought of yet, and it's a big ass universe out there. So that's for damn sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I know you follow some of this UFO stuff with Lou Elizondo and the rest of that. What did you think about his statement? Again, it's coming from a government insider that supposedly is in the know about, crashed UFOs and things like this. Do you think it was maybe he took a step too far there, or do you think this is the conversation we need to be having?
No, I think we should be talking about it, just, because on either side of it, I think it's kind of weird how all this stuff's coming out now, and everywhere I look on the internet, there's all these like UFO footage of this, UFO footage of that. And, I look at it and I always am trying to figure out, I'm like, I want to post this to you, but I think it's fake. I'm pretty sure it's fake. It's so hard to tell nowadays how many of these videos are out there. There's so many of these videos out there now. I don't even know what to believe anymore, if they're real or not. Some of them might look real, but some of them look fake. And so I think when we're talking about this guy and him talking about it, I think we always have to keep in the back of our heads too. We have to remember Project Blue Beam, and that's where I think that might be headed. That it's going to be a fake alien invasion first.
Yeah, and that makes a ton of sense for a lot of reasons, right? Especially when we look at the last couple of years, what they've done. And again, like we've talked about this in the past on this show, it seems like no matter what the calamity is, whether it's 9/11 or whether it's the COVID-19, we still have the same outcome. It's more surveillance, right? It's more crackdowns, more. It's like really, this is a one size fits all. Just rob all your liberties, sort of. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. It's unfortunate, but I guess hey, in the name of public health, bro. Public health. What can you do?
Yeah, there's a lot of videos coming out now, and it sucks. I can't. I want to believe them. I want to go, oh, hey, look at this video of the aliens, but then, CGI and fake, Photoshop and all that videos.
Yep.
I think that's a big problem. Like, I don't want to be fooled.
Yeah, and
just tell me.
Exactly. And that's the problem, right? So we on the news show today we talked about that person that what were they doing? Like speed eating, or I don't know. Like there's just like so many ridiculous things people do to actually go viral. And of course they're going to fake the shit out of UFO videos. And I'm with you, man. I'm literally in the camp where I just don't believe it anymore. I'm like, no, come on, no. And then if there's other like corroborating, compelling evidence to go along with a video, then maybe, right? But for the most part, like we're just swimming in fakes. And not only that, we're not even talking about deep fake shit. We're just talking about like 3D models and video editing at this point.
Yeah, it's gotten to so it's like if there was a real UFO video mixed in there, we wouldn't even know. We'd just go, that's fake.
Yeah, right. I don't know though. Would we? I think that's the weird part. I don't think so. If I see it bouncing around like somebody did a crappy editing job, I instantly know, right? Because I've done video editing myself. I'm familiar with the process. In most cases, I'm not a pro, but I can get by, right? And if I don't know something, I can look it up and figure it out. So I can tell almost right off the bat just if it's herky-jerky weird shit. So I think that if you see something and it kind of gives you the chill up your spine, you know what I mean? I think I'm going to be able to tell for the most part. Am I an expert? No. But right, just seeing all the fake videos is if you see one that's compelling and doesn't look like all the rest, maybe, right? We can go with the maybe there. I'm fine with maybe juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So
one last.
Sure. Go ahead.
Just one more thing is I want to talk in the movie. Remember in the movie Mars Attacks, and the aliens came here, and then it was a bird. Like they released a bird, and then that's what like made the aliens mad. Remember that?
No, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, and I probably didn't even finish it, to be honest. So the humans released a bird, and it pissed the aliens off. That's what happened.
Yeah, like they released a dove, like for like made contact with the aliens, like, and then ceremony, and then they let go. They released doves. That scared the aliens, and that's what made them pissed off, and that's what made them start shooting us. Nice. That's hilarious. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, there's all kinds of scenarios for if aliens, came tomorrow, shoot or not shoot. There's so many different speculations, outcomes of what could happen. It's going to change the world, though, for sure.
Yeah. So do you think it'll happen in our lifetime? That's another question here that's probably relevant tonight.
I don't know about like full disclosure, like them coming, like to invade, but I think too is, kind of what Robert was saying, that they've been here, they were here way before us. So if they did come, they wouldn't be coming here, they would be coming back.
Right. Or if they wanted to take us over, it would have been before we created nuclear weapons, right? They would have just moved in the Stone Age or whatever. Yeah. Or, back in 1850 when we had muskets or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of stuff that's like, come on, guys. Yeah. And that's another interesting thing too you bring up is how they're always looking at our nuclear weapons. Those stories we've heard where they're looking at our nuclear weapons or even like shutting down nuclear power plants. That's interesting too. Like maybe they're surveying what kind of weapons we have. Yeah, and there Yeah, and there are some cases where they said that they've actually shut them down, like shut down some of the nuclear arsenals as they kind of hovered over, and who knows, were scanning or, like I said, checking them out, scouting. Who knows? But yeah, wild stuff, man. I don't know. Where do we stand here? You think we're in trouble, or do you think it's just business as usual?
I hope what I wish is that if they do come, they're peaceful and will shake hands and or tentacles, whatever, and they will help us. They'll help us like evolve as humans, give us technology, or give us some sort of power or energy that we could use to evolve our species. And can't we all just get along? That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that would be the best, right? Have you watched Stargate at all? SG-1?
The movie, I haven't seen the shows yet.
Okay. It is interesting to note
but
that...
there's all kinds...
Go ahead.
Just there's different aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, so like all through SG-1, they spend like a bunch of time just trying to find like aliens that will play ball, that will like share technology to help defend against the bad guys. And nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to share their technology.
Sounds right.
Yeah, right. So it totally sounds right. So who knows? I mean, hopefully I'm with you that if it happens in our lifetime, it's going to be a peaceful transition of power. Wink, wink.
That's what we're going for. I'll leave with that.
Amen. Great stuff as always. Matt, you're the best. Matt in California. What else you got for us, my friend?
That's it tonight, Mike. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the phone call. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Good night.
Good night. There you go. Easy as that. You can give us a call. That's Matt in California, a good friend of the show, good friend of mine, and good takes. I think that's like, who knows what's really going on out there, and that's why we talk about it and do it in this format. If you want to be a part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. You could also click the Discord link, and we could do it that way as well. So what we're doing tonight is we're talking about this whole threat narrative, right? Lou Elizondo was on Coast to Coast last night, and he was talking about specifically this, and this is what's on my mind.
If you ask somebody, are UFOs real? That's really the wrong question to ask somebody at this point. The real question is,
hey, Daryl, one second.
About it? And how are we going to react when that first contact is officially made? What are we going to do? Right? Are we going to run for the hills? Are we going to extend a hand, or are we going to, aim a rifle? And these are the things that we need to talk about.
These are the things we need to talk about. Speaking of talking about it, what's up, Daryl in New York? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you?
Hey, Michael, welcome back from me and everybody else here. I think we all missed you so bad.
Thank you.
It hurt.
Well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Thank you. It's nice to be missed. I did miss doing this, and but I did enjoy taking a little bit of time off as well. So
you deserved it. You deserved it. You deserved it. I hope it was what you hoped it would be, and it was worth all of our sacrifices for the week.
Come on! It wasn't that bad. You know that you found other things to do. You were like, oh, look, I could handle this. There's all kinds of these other amazing things that I didn't know were out there, because you were spending all your time listening to Troubled Minds. Come on, Daryl.
No, it was definitely a missing part of all of our lives. I think we were all happy you're back. It's a great relief to see you here.
Thank you.
And
it's good to be back.
For everybody. I'm speaking for just not myself.
Thank you.
I've got a big fat list over here I was able to make. I hope I can get through all of them.
Sure.
Okay, I was thinking, if they could shut down all these nuclear things, by the way, why are they letting North Korea still test missiles? How come all these missile testings are going by? That bugs me. Why don't they stop North Korea from launching any nuclear missiles? That's one thing. Okay. Also, these video holographic overlays. I've witnessed them myself in New York. I've filmed them. Maria Covid Hill, I think you know who she is. She had this thing that I saw live in South Africa that she was filming, and it blew my mind. I thought, oh my God, if this is going on, the world is going to end. This is so messed up. The sky was getting torn up. There were like these gashes in the sky. with these like incredible like super effects, which of course were holograms. You know, that wasn't happening. Who's doing that? So how could you say everything's CGI if people are actually filming this stuff live? There's something going on that we're filming that we're not CGIing. You know, there's somebody actively doing something. I think it's Project Bluebeam or whatever's going on that we're filming. It looks real. I mean, that looked so real to me, and it was like live, you know. So that was weird. So we won't know if it's real or not. Something weird is happening. All right. So what else did I wanted to mention? The overlap tanks in Times Square, fires on the Brooklyn Bridge. These are things I've witnessed myself. And we also have, speaking about birds, I saw a gigantic canary or something feeding these little baby canaries. Again, CGI'd. They weren't there. I'm sure they weren't there. But something was, why was I, getting all this, why was I witnessing all this stuff? Somehow I felt like somehow targeted to be watching this stuff for some reason. I don't know why. Nobody's going to believe me anyway. Nobody did, maybe nobody still does, but, I have some pretty awful, videos that I've taken that are not CGI'd, but pretty poor quality because I have no talent. I don't have a steady hand or anything like that. Also, okay, the aliens that are already here, aren't they already here? Are they really from somewhere else? Aren't they living in Area 51? I've heard so many stories about wars and battles of people that went down in that elevator to the wrong floor and wound up having to, defend their lives or kill some aliens. Heard that story. Heard the story about Jackie Gleason that went underneath the White House and saw some aliens in formaldehyde, that are I guess they're preserved for future, research. Now, if we've got all so how many aircrafts have we actually shot down and captured the aliens? Or alien crashes that were real crashes, fake crashes? Did we shoot them down successfully? Generally speaking, I don't think we could do that well. I think we tried to give everything we had firepower-wise against a big alien attack in L.A. that many, many years ago, I don't know if you've heard of that one, where there was something hovering over Los Angeles and like the whole city saw it. So there was witnesses up the wazoo and we threw everything we had at the time at it and it didn't make a dent, It was a joke. We couldn't bring it down for anything. What else did I want?
Battle of Los Angeles, 1943. Yep.
Exactly. Then there's Sue Walker in Albuquerque or somewhere in New Mexico where there's those aliens that live in the mountains, the Ponte. They even have a Twitter account. She speaks for them and she does beautiful art of what they look like. They're beautiful. They're really attractive for, as far as aliens go. They're actually very appealing, I think, aesthetically. They're very good looking if you have to go there, So she speaks to aliens, and she could teach you how to speak to them and make, anywhere up to, first up to 5 contacts, depending on which, how advanced you can get and how open-minded you are and how, fearless you are. I don't know how fearless I would be if I'm going to be face-to-face with one of these pretty aliens. Actually, they look kind of docile. So, anyway, and have they been here? Are they here? And, of course, the multitude of species, I don't know, somebody had counted 32 different species. If you talk to, what's his name, R.K. Andrews, he speaks to all of them and has all the weird names for them. He's like an alien whisperer. So he speaks to aliens. So I don't know. There's so much proof and there's so much speculation. You can't deny any of it. But how will we know really if we're looking at a CGI? I think there's so much video proof that people have taken with their cell phone cameras. They can't all be that talented to CGI what they're looking at. But what they're looking at something that's been created by a DARPA or a Project Bluebeam or whatever, That's, I think, yeah, go ahead. That's my list, though.
Okay, yeah, it's a good list, and I think the thing is too is we don't even know what we don't know, meaning that who knows, maybe a bunch of that could be BS too. It could be, not saying all of it is, but I'm saying that you never know. Like we could have been fooled with propaganda. Back to that battle in 1942 thing, 1943 actually, World War II. Well, we've got the accounts, but there's almost nobody left alive from that time anymore. So you know what I mean? Like, as we talk about this in 1984 and like the propaganda aspect is, how would you know? Once it's one human lifetime sort of removed, you've got no firsthand accounts anyway, so you can make up whatever the hell you want to make up. And again, I'm not saying all that shit's fake. I'm saying that we are in a precarious position because a lot of this stuff kind of falls into that realm of, where are the witnesses? That whether they want to remain private or whether it's a propaganda or BS or who knows. I don't know. And I'm with you that clearly I think there's something afoot here. What it is exactly, I can't tell you. I got a hunch, but I don't know. We'll get to MILABS MELABS in a sec as well. Regarding, have you heard of this? I'm sure you've heard of these guys.
Oh, MELABS, yeah.
Regarding exactly like the military abductions is what it stands for. MILABS. Have you heard that the United States government has actually kind of perpetrated these alien abductions as hoaxes or ways to target individuals? Have you heard of that before?
Well, I wonder, some of them, are they targeting them or are they actually interrogating them to find out how much knowledge they have? Do they want to know what they've experienced to try to get more proof and ammunition to know what we're dealing with? That's another aspect of the MILABS, Are they just interrogating experiencers that have been witness to some of this stuff? Or are they creating some horror to unsuspecting people for their own, I don't know what agenda that is, I think it's pretty horrific, but it's not a surprise at all, is it? And nothing surprises me is what they can do to experiment on humans at this point. I don't think there's any limit to what they can do to us. So that doesn't surprise me. But what agenda is that? What is that going to accomplish, to make people believe that they see an alien? What kind of costumes do they have? I don't know. I think it's a little bit, I don't know. I think it's a little far-fetched. I think from what I've seen, I kind of buy the alien autopsy films and footage. I mean, they say it's real, then they say it's not real, then they go back and say it is real. I don't know what the popular opinion is these days. I think it's going towards that they are real. I mean, they've seen people holding hands with them, and they kind of look pretty real, So, they could be disputed through any Hollywood special effect, costume person. You say, yeah, I can make that. I can do that. I can recreate that. But who knows? I don't know. I think there's enough evidence there to really doubt that we're not alone. How could we be alone? Now the question is, have they been living underground for all this time? Is there an inner earth, There's another possibility, that they are, kind of living under the water or under the ocean. They have bases in the ocean. I mean, they could definitely overcome, the, what do you call that? The fathoms of the sea where you have that pressure, the barometric, that barometric pressure kind of thing, where you don't get the bends. I don't understand how they avoid that, when they can, go in record speed and not drop dead. I don't think we can ever. I just wonder, when we go in their aircrafts, are we going at that record speed, and how climatized their aircraft are? They really seem to come a long way that way, technologically speaking. I don't think we know how to do that without killing ourselves, to go at warp speed like that without, losing your hearing or, having your head explode. So I don't know.
Exactly. I'm with you. I don't know either. It's one of those situations where that's why we talk about it. I think it's and some people just think we're insane just considering it. And I just don't buy the propaganda. I don't think it's as easy as that to just dismiss everything outright. Yeah, even though, science tells you should. Wink, wink. Right. Where we stand there. We got Joe on the phone. We've been waiting for 12 minutes now. You want to hang tight and we'll get back to you in just a sec after Joe's call?
No problem.
Okay, you're the best, Daryl. Thanks for the great takes. I'm going to try and get it so you guys can hear him. And that's Daryl in New York. I put her link in the chat. Please give Daryl a follow. She's got a YouTube channel where she does she sings. Daryl's a singer, so she's got a single there that's in English and French. And please check it out. It's in the description or in the chat right now. Give her a follow. And thank you again for the phone call, Daryl. Hang tight. We'll get back to you in just a sec. Let's go to our good friend Joe in Florida. Joe. What's up, buddy? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Not too bad. How was your week?
Oh, good.
Siesta?
Sleep, bro. Sleep is good. Man, it's one of those things, right? When you're just like, I think I'll take another nap.
Yeah, you've been hard at it, and we've all been listening, and it's a good crowd, and it's grown, so that's really good. Well deserved. My immediate thoughts are Austin Powers and sharks with laser beams on their heads are going to save us, and we're going to shoot first. But I honestly think we probably would do something stupid. Why do I say that? If they were watching us, and they are, I think we all agree to that they're here in one form or another. But I think before we go looking out for them, we've all got to look at ourselves. And we don't look at ourselves. We're more divisive. It's the human question. Okay? It would be a terrible thing if they did show up at the end of something terrible that we've done to ourselves, if they would show up to pick up the pieces. Daryl says, why don't they stop the nuclear missiles in North Korea? Well, it's a good point. They're ballistic missiles. They're not nuclear yet. So if that's the case, why don't they stop everything else? Looking at an alien, to me, would be like asking God for help. To me, it's just an excuse. We should be taking care of ourselves, and we don't. And why do I say that? Is because if they were to show up, unless they show up on your lawn and on my lawn and on everybody else's lawn that's listening right now, so we can all say we're not crazy and we're nice people, maybe. That aside, it's probably going to be rich people and politicians that have contact with these things. And do you really think any of our world leaders are setting a good example right now?
Ooh, no. I can't think of hardly any. I think that's the problem here, isn't it?
That's really the problem. They made a I don't know if you ever played. I played it. This will date me. There's a game called Elite Commander, and it came out like in the late '80s. And there's a remake of it now, which I'd really love to get an upgraded computer and play. But anyway, in the original game, you would go from planet to planet, and the planets were like feudal, and some planets were capitalist, and you would have to trade. And whenever you went to a capitalist planet, it was always to the highest bidder. Things that you could purchase were to the highest bidder.
Oh, perfect. As usual, right in the middle of a phone call is when the phone line drops. Hang tight there, Joe. I can't really hear you. There you go. Let's call this back. I don't think you can hear me either.
Thank you for calling Troubled Minds. Caller ID authorized as a host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface. Audio recording is on. Dual channel.
So how could you expect anything less?
You're a pro, Joe. The phone line dropped, and right when it came back up, you finished your sentence. You finished your thought. We didn't catch the last, 45 seconds of that. So sorry about that.
I got to do something else besides the phone. But basically, if they created us, if this is not repeated, if they did create us, then we do have a legitimate gripe. Why did you make us like this? We keep trying to be better, but somehow we're not. At some point in time, if we were an experiment, and they were watching us, wouldn't they say by now, okay, the experiment's over, let's flood the place, let's drop an asteroid on it, it's our mistake, if they did create us. Now, if they just wandered upon us, they'd probably be like, look at these morons. They're not building anything, or, they're not helping their people. They're hoarding it for themselves. The power's concentrated with a few people. And it's an awful thought. It's an awful thought that there might be something out there, and there might be something out there that can help better humanity. But I don't think we'll ever see it.
Yeah, well, because again, they wouldn't share, right? I think that's the problem. What are they going to do? Are they going to bring the technology to you, Joe, or to me? Of course not, right? Like it's going to, like the government's going to put up the fences and keep us all away from it. It's going to be like Close Encounters of the Third Kind of Steven Spielberg back in the late 70s, early 80s, whenever that movie came out. And it's going to be, right, it's going to be like government contact. It's not, and again, go ahead.
But then what would that say about them? What would that say about them? Would we really, then I think humanity would be like, we'd be like, why bother? That's why there's self-disclosure. We've got self-disclosure. You don't see anybody up in arms. One of the other callers that called in said what we've all said. It sounds like an excuse to hide money again. It's obvious we can't spend $10,000 on a wrench anymore because that jig is up. So now we need another excuse. But if aliens really did one and then they shared it with a small amount of people, what does that say about them? And why would I even care? Why would I bother at that point? I'd be like, well, I guess all of the universe is full of dicks, pretty much, and we're just the freaking slaves. Like, the Anunnaki came here and we were slaves in the beginning. And if you watch Stargate, the original movie, and the series, if you get later into the series of Stargate, because I was a big fan for that, when they finally, in Stargate, the TV show, when they finally went into the Asgard, those are the typical Greys. They want to help us, and they come as the form as the Nordic gods. Thor is one of the ones when you get later into the Stargate TV show. And that's kind of neat. That's, off topic, but the TV show is kind of neat because they introduced Nordic gods with the original movie had the Egyptian gods.
Yeah, and they're enemies. So the two pantheons, the two different worshiping pantheons on Earth are actually enemies in the cosmos. And I do like the Asgard Thor. That's the supreme commander of the Asgard fleet. I'm far enough to know what you're talking about now. Finally,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent series. But if that's a reflection of ourselves, if we were created in their image, then you get what you get. That's painfully obvious. And maybe it's done on purpose so that people like us that are listening and have an open mind, maybe people are abducted for whatever genetic experiments, maybe that would help make them better and whatever the offspring would be better. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, think about what we can do with CRISPR. What about cosmic CRISPR? This shit should be wild, right?
Absolutely. And then here's another thing that I'll leave you with, a terrible joke. Okay?
Okay, don't make it too terrible, please.
No, it's not too terrible. But, from the funeral directing standpoint, if they're looking down on us and they're abducting us, they're probably like, they won't mind if we abduct them because they abduct themselves. They donate their own body parts. When they're dead, they donate bones. Some people donate kidneys, willingly or not. If you're in Mexico and end up in a bathtub in a tub of ice, they do it to themselves. So let's go land and abduct some people. They're not going to mind. They do it anyway.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough.
Anyways, all over the place. Good topic. Maybe we'll all live long enough. I know I've seen things. I think a lot of us here have seen things. Maybe we would live long enough to see something on a regular basis that might make a visit and come out of their craft. So, anyway, good topic. Good to have the show back. And everybody have a good night.
Appreciate it. Thanks for messaging me, and you're the best, Joe. Have a fantastic one. We'll talk to you soon. All right, easy as that. Easy peasy. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. And it seems like more recently, like we probably went an entire year without cutting anybody off on the phone. It would just die randomly when nobody was on the line. But now recently, oddly enough, when people actually call in, we're dumping calls, oddly enough. There you go. What's going on, guys? I see it out there in the chat. Let's get to this real quick, too, before we finish this up. We got about 10 minutes left or so. But I want to do this, that My Labs thing, okay? We've never really talked about this, okay? And this is from exopedia.org, and this is how they describe My Labs, okay? And it's links in the description, of course, and you can check this out. My Lab, MILAB, stands for military abduction. The phenomenon was first investigated by Dr. Helmut Lammer of the Austrian Space Research Institute. In a number of cases, abductees and sometimes UFO witnesses are subsequently abducted by humans in military uniforms. For this reason, Melinda Leslie started calling them REABs. Nearly always unmarked helicopters are involved. The victims are usually drugged or sometimes disoriented by a strong electromagnetic field. Now think about that in terms of Havana syndrome, right? This continues during their military abduction. Most of them receive an implant, usually behind the ear. My Labs seem to be a part of a wider operation aimed at monitoring and abducting abductees in order to keep a lid on the alien abduction phenomenon. And so it makes you wonder, right? Is this stuff really happening, right? Are they actually abducting people as a way to maybe cover up information or to obfuscate the obvious? That so think of it this way: if let's say we had, I don't know, let's say 10,000 people in the last 30 years. Let's say just to throw out a number. Let's say 10,000 people in the last 30 years were abducted, okay, by aliens. All right, just again, thought experiment here. And if 10,000 of those people, let's say a chunk of them, maybe let's say 25%, 2,500 of them came out with their story, and their stories were so similar that it became irrefutable, right? That, like, wait a minute, why do we have so many people that the people that come out with this story regarding the alien abduction phenomenon are actually telling almost the exact same story? So what's up? Is this some sort of mass like psychosis, or is this real, right? But then if you start doing this type of thing, the again military abductions, and changing up again what people think and believe based on, you can do whatever you want, right? Again, if you're blasting people with these electromagnetic devices, you're drugging them, you're making them believe whatever it is you want them to believe regarding the alien abduction experience. You're obfuscating the real ones, because now in a pool of all these abductions themselves, this is just a good way to kind of cover your tracks and make it not look like the people that are being abducted are actually being abducted. It looks like a scattering of crazies, right? And so who knows? I think that's what this is about, and this is one of those things where you kind of makes you raise an eyebrow and think, okay, is this really happening? So there's more here. Again, like I said, who knows what to believe regarding this? And let's see, let me make sure we're not leaving anybody out here. We'll get back to Daryl in just a sec as well. Just want to make sure we have, yep, okay, we're good. Okay, so here we go. So it says, My Labs are different from regular alien abductions. For starters, they are limited to the USA. Furthermore, My Labs involve activity of dark, unmarked helicopters, the appearance of strange vans or buses outside the houses of abductees, exposure to disorienting electromagnetic fields, drugging, transport with a helicopter, bus, or truck to an unknown building, or an underground military facility. Usually there are physical after effects like grogginess and sometimes nausea after the kidnappings. There is also a difference when the abductors appear. In most UFO abduction cases, the beings appear through a closed window, wall, or the abductee feels a strange presence in the room. Most abductees report that they are paralyzed from the mental power of the alien beings. At My Labs, the abductee reports that kidnappers give him or her a shot with a syringe. It is interesting that My Lab abductees report that they are examined from human doctors in rectangular rooms and not round, sterile rooms, like as some of the descriptions from maybe Betty and Barney Hill and some of these other ones. I don't know. So as usual, right, it's impossible to tell what's really going on, because you don't know how much of this is concocted propaganda. You don't know how much of this is real, how much of this is any level in between. It's all, who knows? What's going on? Let's see. They're leaving me out. Okay. You said okay, look, Tam Bam, if you wanted to jump in and be on the show, you're in, just unmute. Get your ass in here. Because you said I just wanted to listen. I think that means you just wanted to listen for whatever reason. So hop in. Get on in here. Tam Bam in South Africa. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
I did. I said. I just want to listen while I'm on the thing. And then I unmuted, and then you put everyone else on, and I felt, well, maybe it's not my time ever.
It's because you're in South Africa. You always come last. Come on, you're supposed to laugh. That was a joke. That was an in joke. You always tell me that, so I'm telling you back now. No, sorry about that. Go right ahead. What are your thoughts on this tonight? Sorry for making you wait.
Okay, what's the question? Are we going to handshake, run under the blankets, or shoot? I'd say discernment is very, very important. People who live under a rock or who choose to remain ignorant to the fact that aliens are real are the ones who are going to shoot first. Because they've been, over the years, indoctrinated into watching or fear-mongered into watching movies where aliens are always bad. You know, so they're the ones who are going to be shocked and be chaotic and shoot and, run and cower and be afraid. Whereas the people who are awakened, who've done the research, who have, like with your show and all those things, will have more of a discernment factor mentally when approaching the subject or, when it does happen. Are they good? Are they bad? How many races are there? Because if you think about it, we as a human race, we have fighting within us, right? What is it? Doesn't it mean that the alien races also have infighting as well? So there would be kind of whatever the case is, what we have, racism, sexism, whatever the case. I'm sure they had that kind of situation as well. So there would be, it goes to say that there would be good versus bad. And we don't know how their system actually works, if they have leaders or if they're all one or how they work. And with the many races out there, and I'm telling you now, there are a lot, they all have different opinions and we just don't know how they work. So discernment is very, very important. So, decide, are they good, are they bad, are they hostile? And the last thing we should be doing is taking notes from the effing government. No, they're bad. No, that you must run and hide or whatever. No, I'd rather trust a fucking alien over you, dickbag. So that's my opinion.
All right, and a good opinion it is. I think part of it is that. Okay, so what if, right? What if through that discernment you find out that, I don't know, let's say this particular group of aliens is hostile? How do we handle that? Do you think it is time to grab the rifles, or do you think that's absurd?
Listen, what is the first thing you're going to do if someone attacks your family? You're going to fight back, right? Self-preservation, protection, all that stuff. It's whether it's humans attacking you or an alien attacking you, you're going to behave the same way. The right to survive, the right to live. So if you have a rifle on hand and they are aggressive, shoot the fucking thing.
Pew pew. I like it. Hey, look, you got to defend yourself, right? And again, I think the craziest part about that is that just the implications. It's a worldwide implication. Hello? There. Yeah, you don't hear me? Hello? I hear you. Can you hear me? Do you not hear me? What happened? Hold on.
We lost.
Did we lose Tam?
I wanted to say something, Michael, while she's getting reconnected.
Sure.
About the MyLab thing. I just had an experience in the hospital that I probably should not have had. Undergoing, I underwent anesthesia. I found out later what was in the anesthesia. I had come to way before the anesthesia should have, I should not have come to. I was still under the influence. I was in the OR, and I absolutely was petrified. What was in the anesthesia was fentanyl and ketamine. I found this out. Now, you don't remember anything. You don't remember going under, you don't remember the operation. your mind is like wiped out. You don't have any recollection. And if they have this kind of stuff in the MyLabs, which I kind of feel like that's what they use, they can use something like that to put somebody under and have them have no recollection of their experience, or as much recollection as they would like you to have. They have this technology, I have no doubt. And I'm sure that's the cocktail that they use if they're going to abduct somebody, along with whatever electromagnetic frequency technology that they might have. And it's quite effective as far as wiping you out from whatever you might be thinking happened to you. But I'll tell you, while you're under it, it is terrifying, and you're kind of paralyzed, and I was petrified. I absolutely was aware of what was going on. I didn't know who the people in the room were, but I had a feeling I knew them, and I knew what they were going to say before they said it. And life was like going in slow motion. It was absolutely terrifying. I was screaming so much that they had to put me out, knock me out with some other drug, so I would stop screaming. So I know they're never going to give me that again if I ever have to go to that hospital again for any other surgery. God forbid, I hope not. They're not going to give me that cocktail again. I don't know why I came to before it was over, but I really have my doubts as what they use to abduct people. I'm certain that they use some sort of cocktail with those particular drugs. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Daryl. Tam Bam, thanks for being patient with us. Welcome back. Tam Bam.
I'm here.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. Go right ahead.
What was I saying?
You were saying all kinds of things. You were like, hey, grab the rifle. Let's giddy up. If it's time to defend the family, it's time to defend the family. That's what you were saying.
That's the truth, though, isn't it? You defend the family if they become hostile. That's what I'm going to do. I don't care who you are. You don't come to my family and start attacking. I'll shoot you dead and skin you alive.
Whoa. All right, let's not...
No, but that's how it is. I mean, we're all the same.
Yeah, let's not get too saucy. You'll get us taken down for violence. Yeah, all right. So,
no.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no. You can't... it's a wrong think. Okay, so regarding... What about the... I wanted to ask you, too, about this this military involvement in abductions. Do you think that's a thing? Do you think this seems to be a bunch of BS, or it's maybe a way to do like what I was describing, maybe obfuscating the real abductions by peppering in some of these things into the pool of participants? You know what I'm saying?
I have been hearing a lot of whispers regarding military abduction. We know, or I do, and we have spoken about it, that a lot of the UAPs are military, and they have the technology and they are flying around, and we don't know that. I'm sure I've been hearing whispers. They've been abducting people, testing on them, the whole thing. I do believe it somewhat. I just can't find concrete proof. It makes sense is what I'm saying, but I just can't find concrete proof of it. And I don't think we will, because that would create mass chaos and people would go insane and go crazy. You don't get to abduct and test on humans and then admit it. No. I think there is some truth to that. And then there was something else I want to talk about. I said it a lot earlier in the show. You're talking about the radiation. From the people have experienced.
Yeah, with the UFOs. Go ahead.
So you did say it, but I just want to go over it again. So Bob Lazar, when he was taken to Area 51, they discovered a new element, and they named that element 115. Now, the element 115 is in what they could manufacture from that or replicate it. They could only replicate it in small amounts, very small amounts. In other words, 4 cells of it, and the cells are extremely small. What they found in the UFOs was like a hand size element 115, and that element, when it's placed in a UFO, and I don't know how they get it to activate, but what it does is it creates like a radiation around it to hover. So that the hovering effect of the UFO, the byproduct of that and hovering and the element is radiation. And I've heard so many stories of where people have come into close contact or have seen an alien or have come near a spacecraft. They have radiation sickness, radiation burns. I mean, that's just a common thing. And it makes sense. So, but the replication of it has only been done a very little bit because we don't have that element on Earth. It is brought to our planet. To replicate it is another story. But that was Bob Lazar's days when he came forth with all this information. And how long has it been until now? So they've had how much time until now to recreate element 115 and use it in military UFOs. And this is what we see flying in the sky as well.
Yeah,
so that was interesting.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms, that whole Bob Lazar stuff in the element 115. Supposedly what he said is he kind of took some and buried it in the desert or something. So he actually took it and he's got some stashed away, apparently. if you're to believe everything he said. So I don't know. Good stuff there. And you got to assume that you're talking advanced propulsion, and if you get too close, if you get too close to like a fighter jet when it takes off, you're going to get roasted, right? I mean, it stands to reason that if you get close to some of these things, that there is going to be some sort of adverse effect to just meat suits, right? To the meat puppets like we are. So, I mean, I'm definitely down with that because we don't know what we're dealing with technologically. It's all a lot of speculation and hearsay. But if they're gonna travel through time and space sort of thing or dimensionally or whatever to get here, then you got to think that that's some kind of powerful shit. And I don't want to be anywhere near that when you turn that engine on. So I'm definitely
no.
On the topic of that element thing, they were finding these things. I would describe it. It looked like mylar, like the mylar balloons. You ever seen a mylar balloon? It's like metal, and so apparently it's like you can't bend it or you can't break it, you can't tear it, but it's very thin. It's like paper thin, and it seems like it was what was discovered at Area
Roswell
51. I guess. Roswell, that's right.
Yep.
It was discovered at Roswell, and I'm wondering if that's the same element that Bob Lazar claimed he discovered. And also, you also see like this kind of plasma that surrounds these UAPs or UFOs. That's like when they're traveling, they travel through like their own film of plasma. I don't know if that's radiated. There's something about that that's also like maybe that's what could protect them from radiation, or also that's what maybe why they could, like, you see some things going through the sun. I'm not sure, if that's the technology that allows them to get, through very hot environments or going through volcanoes. That kind of plasma that surrounds these UAPs, and I don't think those are ours. Personally, I think those are UFOs. That's just my opinion.
I actually have some information about that.
Yeah.
So, what you're calling a plasma is what they call actually a halo around a UAP, and that's what you can distinguish between a man-made one from the military and distinguish from a real. So, but you have to look through certain binoculars or whatever you have to do. Then you can see the halo effect, and the halo is what it does is if you're coming from a different planet, that halo surrounds the UAP in that environment. So that environment is encapsulated from that planet into that UAP. That's why those specific breed of alien can survive in their ship, and that's that halo cap that you're seeing.
It's like
that means so they can come to our planet and go to different planets and go to the sun or whatever. That's encapsulation is a halo.
So it's like a space-time bubble of sorts, right?
Correct. It's their bubble from their planet atmosphere.
Cool stuff.
Gotcha. All right, sweet. What else you ladies got? We can wind it down here, but what are your final thoughts?
So I also want to just say, also with abductions and things, there is whispers going around that on our third dimensional plane that we live on a physical plane where we can see our spectrum bandwidth. So there is whispers that aliens who are come into our planet, the way they can exist into our third dimensional plane is they have to, because they're on a different bandwidth or frequency of existence, in order to come into ours, they have to be, air quote, born and integrated into our reality. That's what I heard. So that's why probably, there's a lot of people going, a woman who say, no, they've been pregnant, they've been abducted, and they've been pregnant, and then they get re-abducted and the baby gets taken out, and, this hybrid babies that are being born around the planet. And that is the integration of their alien species into our third dimensional reality to exist, and it's probably to also save their race. Maybe they have troubles that we don't know, but that's the hearsay of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
And that's it.
And that's it. It's as easy as that, right? That's it. But once again, it's not so easy after all, is it? It's not. No. My webcam broke one final time as a final fuck you to the technology mess tonight. Anyway, all right. So we're here with the lovely ladies, Daryl in New York and Tam Bam in South Africa, and we're going to finish this up. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know it's a long show, but there's a lot of things that need to be discussed, and there's a lot of people that got things to say, and that's why we do this, and we're going to keep on doing it. I know it's a little bit kind of tame for a troubled minds sort of discussion, but hey, it's UFOs, so I get a lot of flack no matter what I do about this guy doesn't talk about UFOs. Well, there you go. There you go. Hey, I'm walking here. There's your UFOs. There you go. There's your UFOs. All right, so let's get the hell out of here. Do we have a JTRO? I don't think we got a JTRO. I think he's nope, nothing. All right, let's do it anyway. Great show, Michael. Great show. Thank you. Great show. Thanks. Great input from both of you guys and everybody else. I appreciate it very much. Let's play some music and GTFO. Do you guys have echo right now at all?
No.
Okay, that's amazing. So let's do this. I'm going to play some music and let's GTFO. As you know, the way this works is Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Troubled Minds, and we talk about all that stuff, and we're going to keep on doing it. So tomorrow night we'll be back 7 p.m. Pacific, and I'll have something that's not aliens because, well, you got to mix it up or you get bored. I get bored. You probably get bored. Let's not talk about aliens all the time, but it's good to mix them in from time to time, UFOs and all the rest of this. And boom. What's up, Rolf? I see you in the chat. What's up? I see you there, buddy. I see you. That's an old timer. That's the old timers. Shadows of the Moon, Rolf. They've been here a long time, kind of lurking. And Rolf used to call me all the time, but well, there we go. It's all right. The phone line's always open. As we finish, how's it go, Tam Bam? You want to help us out with that?
Be sure, be strong, be true.
There it is. In the immortal words of Tam Bam from South Africa, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you very much for that. And we'll be back tomorrow night. If you want to help out the show, you guys know what to do. Spread the word. If you, we got Patreon. There's Rockfin you can sub up to. There's Twitch, which you can sign up for free. If you have Amazon Prime, just link the two accounts. It's easy peasy. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It's already included in your Amazon Prime account. Or if you like the show but not enough to spend some scratch, I'm not asking you to, and I'm not asking anybody to go out of their way or cut a budget or anything. There are ways to help for free. If you want to help us, just listen to the podcast feed. Spotify, you can find it on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. There's ads baked in. Every time you listen to a show, I get 3 cents. How about that, right? You can help. Just go listen to some old shows in your spare time, and it helps. And there you go. So you're doing your thing. You're getting extra entertainment for free, minimal ad interruptions, and boom. There you go. Lots of ways to help. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that listens. Thank you to everybody that contributes in the chat. Thank you to everybody that calls in. Tam Bam here especially, and Daryl in New York, because of course, well, you're here. And everybody else, you know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say thank you enough. Let's get the hell out of here. If we had a JTRO, we would do a JTRO, but we do not. So instead, shall we do some Margaret Mead? What do you say there, Daryl?
I say yes.
All right. All right. Let's do it. All right, we'll do it. Here it is.
No.
I gotta find it. I wasn't prepared.
I've got one.
All right, go for it. Let's do it.
A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. And that was Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, excellent. Oh God, what a perfect day to say that.
What a perfect day to say that. And I am remiss for not bringing it up. Happy MLK Jr. Day. Thank you, Tam, for winding that out and having that in your back pocket. Appreciate that very much. All right. So let's do it. We'll be back tomorrow night. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours. Have a great night.
That was perfect, Tam.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Let the falsetto rip. All right. End in stream in 3, 2,